Chapter 3906. Behind Juyo Luocha, a figure emerges, which is very vague. It is hard to see whether it is a man or a woman. He has a vast and savage air on his body. Although the figure is fuzzy, but the location of the eyes, there is a divine light. The light seems to penetrate the space-time interval from the distant hell, making the soul tremble. Shura Wind/Juyo Luocha stopped drinking, and the sword trembled, pointing directly at Yu Zifeng's eyebrows. The cold breath suppressed Wan Dao. At this time, she was like a changed person. Her breath was full of coldness and no emotion. Hi! When the blade of the sword cuts off and cuts across the void, it makes a piercing sound of splitting brocade, which is the unique sound of the law of cutting heaven and earth. In the face of the fierce Juyo Luocha, Yu Zifeng's face was indifferent. He had no vision blessing, no strong wind, no blood. But on the sword in his hand, the divine light surged, as if given life. The sharp breath made the 9 days tremble. When there was no retreat, no evasion, only a head-on attack. Yu Zifeng's sword was like electricity, cutting on the long sword of Juyo Luocha. Boom! When the two swords sing, the space collapses in a large area, and the void beside them explodes, forming a black hole tens of thousands of miles. The power has been suppressed to the extreme, and such a terrible destructive force can erupt. Someone exclaimed. The black hole roars and explodes, like a monster's mouth, crazily devouring the heaven and earth. The endless runes of heaven are absorbed by it, forming a terrible vortex. In front of that huge black hole, Juyo Luocha and Yu Zifeng are not moved. They are flying swords and each has a killing move. Boom boom. One is a peerless killer and the other is a peerless swordsman. Both of them are masters of swordsmanship. They both use their hands like electricity. They fight for hundreds of moves in an instant. The sword shadow is surging all over the sky, and no one can see them. If you make one mistake, you will be doomed. The sound of Juyo Luocha comes from the sea of swords. I've never made a mistake since I started, not in the past and not now. It's you. When the external force is exhausted, you fall under the sword of you. Yu Zifeng responded coldly. Boom boom. After the conversation, they are attacked by the storm. In the area where they are, black holes are constantly blooming. In the void, the road cracks extend like black lightning. In fact, they are all space cracks cut by their sword chi. When Yu Zifeng confronted Juyo Luocha, Weng Tingao, Yumu Giant, Yin Changxing and mysterious beast Xiuqiang killed Longchen at the same time. Menqi, Deng Xianzi, Bai Shishi and Baixiol blocked each other, and each of them stopped in front of a strong one. Wanna buy time for Longchen? Dream Yin Changxing faces the Deng Xianzi in front of him. He looks sarcastic and ignores the fire net arranged by the fairy. Just as he was about to hit the net of Deng Xianzi, his body suddenly became empty. It was like a green smoke that went through the barrier of Deng Xianzi and went straight to the dragon dust. Deng Xian's face changed greatly. Yin Changxing was also a fire practitioner. He knew that Deng Xian's rainbow and flame were difficult to deal with. He did not confront Dan Xian directly. Instead, he used the power of faith to directly cross the blockade and kill Longchen. The Dragon Blood Legion is here. You can't be arrogant. The Dragon Blood cross cuts. Gua Ran roared, all the strength of the Dragon Blood soldiers concentrated on Gua Ran again. The mantis arm is a chariot. I can't help it. In the Yin Changxing who used to be. Xing Yan slaughters the magic gun. In the face of the joint attack of the Dragon Blood army, Yin Changxing has a sneer on his mouth. His long flame spear stabbed fiercely in his hand, and a long flame spear of 10,000 li appears, like the gun of God, and stabs Gua Ran fiercely. Boom! Gua Ran was like being hit by a hammer of the god, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Not only did Gua Ran gush blood, but all the Dragon Blood soldiers spewed blood. His attack contains Holy Spirit, and the power of his faith is more solid than that of Jis lifeless. Xiachen reminds us in a loud voice. At the same time, the Taoist Fu Zhuan flies out and goes straight to Yin Changxing. Boom boom. Yin Changxing sneered. With a wave of his gun, all the seal characters burst into pieces. The space was constantly twisted and the force of space vibrated. Want to send me away? As far as your strength is concerned, don't dream. I want to kill the dragon dust. No one can stop it. Yin Changxing sneered. You fart, the life of Long Chen is mine. Jiuyo Luocha roared, but she was blocked by Yu Zifeng, and she couldn't rush over. She was furious. Just then, a golden bell blocked Yin Changsheng's way, and Yin Chang's gun smashed. When "dang" broke out, Yin Changxing snorted and flew backward. When he hit down, countless people on the battlefield called it bad. Sure enough, after the golden bell rang, the bodies of countless strong men on the battlefield trembled, and the transparent spirit was stripped from their bodies. Boom! Two huge ferocious spirits reappeared, big mouth fierce absorption, countless people's original god, was sucked away by the evil spirit. Countless corpses fell from the air, and the dense crowd on the battlefield became sparse again. After the separation of tens of millions of strong spirits, they were devoured by evil spirits. This attack is more vicious than Wang Tianyao's, and it involves a wider range. Everyone is scared to death. What is the situation? Realm artifact, soul-snatching golden bell? Are you from the Temple of Heaven and Soul? Yin Changsheng's face changed. He recognized the origin of the artifact and yelled. It is, Mengqi slowly falls from the sky, like a goddess from the sky, blocking Yin Changsheng's road, cold tunnel. Unexpectedly, Tianhundian, which never interferes with worldly affairs, has begun to set foot in muddy waters. It's a pity that your name can't scare me. It's useless even if the old man Tianhun comes in person. No one can save the people I want to kill. Yin Changxing sneered. Dragon dust is my beloved. I want to protect him. You should hurt him unless you walk over my body. Menqi's beautiful cheek is full of resolute color. Mengqi this words, countless people are jealous of madness. Dragon dust this boy how can let a gorgeous goddess give up her life to protect him. Then die. Yin Changxing was furious, and the spirit behind him was agitated. The power of his faith was boiling. He hit down with the long gun and went straight to Mengqi's stab. Mengqi took a deep breath, and a determined color appeared on her face. The golden bell behind her appeared in front of her body. Her jade hand pressed on the bell and her eyebrows, a bloody rune appeared. When Mengqi made this action, the strong people on the scene were scared out of their wits. They did not know how many people were going to die. They all fled out like crazy. You'd better die. What's the point of being alive when you've grown into that virtue? Just as Mengqi was ready to burst out, a lazy voice came, and a streamer came at the same time, hitting Yin Changsheng's spear. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3907 Boom. The streamer was a golden light with endless runes. When the arrow hit Jis' lifeless spear, it exploded and made the world tremble. The arrow burst to pieces, but the violent force shook Yin Changsheng's long-standing blow. In the void, Emo Nian's figure appeared in front of Yin Changxing. At this time, Emo Nian's crown of heaven in the back of his head blooms, and the palace in the vision behind him, with the blessing of the heavenly king's crown, becomes more and more magnificent. The plants and trees in front of the palace are so lifelike, as if a real world had come. The palace is sacred and solemn, and the divine light covers Emo Nian's body, which adds a touch of grace and elegance to Emo Nian. The whole person seems to have some kind of immortal style, and the demeanor of a world-class expert. But Emo Nian's face, hanging 7 elder brother not to accept, 8 elder brother is not afraid of arrogant smile. In the eyes is with indecent meaning, destroyed the overall feeling, let people feel unworthy. Looking at Emo Nian's obscene expression, Yin Changxing immediately became angry. Emo Nian, you crossed the street mouse. I've been bad for many times last time. Today it'll take your life to pay off the debt. When the enemy met, he roared, and the power of faith came down like a mountain, and stabbed at Emo Nian with a gun. Pa! But at the moment of Yin Changsheng's hand, the void trembles, and Emo Nian appears on his side. He swings a shovel in his hand and slaps it on Yin Changsheng's face with a very strange arc. As soon as Yin Changsheng's body moves, he is beaten by a shovel. Whoa, gaga, success, success. I also learned the unique skill of Longchen, ha ha ha. It's not easy to be sensed because it doesn't mean to kill. Emon Yen slapped Yin Changsheng with a spade. Everyone was shocked. The blow was too sudden and unexpected. When Guo Ran and Xiachen saw Emon Yen's move, they felt familiar. Until Emon Yen yelled, they realized that the arc of Emon Yen's hand was very similar to Long Chen's slap in the face. Emon Yen at this time excited to jump, as if learned the unique knowledge. All of us were stunned. Looking for death, Yin Changsheng was slapped by a spade, and his face was burning with pain. Although this move was not fatal, it was extremely uncomfortable to pat on his face. The most painful thing was not the pain, but the naked humiliation, which brought great damage to his spirit. Bang! In his rage, Yin Changsheng's belief field broke out, burning like a flame, gnashing his teeth at Emon Yen. Who? Emon Yen's figure suddenly flickered, and the person was as fast as lightning. Once again, a spade was pulled away from Yin Changsheng's face. Boom! With a bang, Emon Yen was shocked by Yin Changsheng's shot and rolled upside down. But what happened? Why not? Emon Yen failed this time and couldn't help shouting. Go to hell! Yin Changsheng roars, his spear is like electricity, chasing Emon Yen and stabbing him wildly. Hello, you slow down, I'm not familiar with this move, man, give me a face, let me smoke two more, no, one, just one. Emon Yen is forced by Yin Changsheng to be in a hurry and keep going backwards, but his mouth is not idle. Damn you percent. Yin Changsheng was angry and scolded. He fought countless battles and killed numerous Tianjiao giants, but he never met such a shameless opponent as Emon Yen. Who, while he was swearing wildly, Emon Yen suddenly whipped a spade, and Yin Changsheng dodged in a hurry. As a result, his face dodged, and the shovel hit his head with a loud noise, which made Yin Changsheng's eyes twinkle, and a goose-egg-sized bag swelled on his head. Grass, miss it? Emon Yen cried out in annoyance. He deliberately provoked Yin Changsheng to create opportunities for himself. After all, he is not Long Chen, and this move is stealthy. Moreover, his combat experience is far less than that of Long Chen. In addition, he is not good at close combat. Therefore, although he has practiced this move secretly, it still has a certain gap with Long Chen. The success of the first time was due to surprise. In the last fierce battle between the two men, he always kept a distance. Therefore, Yin Changsheng did not expect that he would suddenly close in. The second time, he deliberately provoked Yin Changsheng and took advantage of his impetuous temper to launch another surprise attack. However, Yin Changsheng was an expert after all, and his reaction speed was extremely fast, so he did not succeed in slapping his face. This move is a random attack. It is not aimed at killing the enemy. Its strength is very limited. In fact, its damage is mainly humiliating the spirit and will of the enemy. Yin Changsheng is attacked again, and his anger erupts like a volcano. His long gun spreads all over the sky, forcing Emon Yen to retreat in confusion. Several times, Emon Yen was almost stabbed by Yin Changsheng's long gun. Emon Yen yelled, Hey man, this is not the time, you slow down, let's start again, just let me smoke again, right and upright? I'll give you the money. You can open the price. I'm a big family and a big business. I don't need money. Hoo. Yin Changsheng's spear dances like 10,000 lotus blossoms. The strong wind blows the void out of the cracks. Each blow contains the power of faith. If it is stabbed on a person, I'm afraid there will be no ashes left. To everyone's surprise, Yin Changsheng's field oppresses heaven and earth. Ordinary people in his field have been pressed too much to move. However, Emon Yen seems to have no feeling at all. He is not influenced by his belief. He dodges and teases at the same time. Although there are many dangers, Yin Changsheng can't do anything about Emon Yen. He can't help but gnash his teeth and make his forehead blue. Finally, Emon Yen evades several hundred moves in a row, and is forced to have nowhere to hide by Yin Changsheng. Suddenly, he puts away his shovel and blocks Yin Changsheng's attack with bowstring. Zheng, the bowstring vibrates. With the elasticity of the bowstring, Yin Changsheng's shot is defused. Mo Nian flies thousands of miles away at the same time, pulling the bow with one hand. Boom, an arrow shot out like lightning. Just out of the bow string, it came to Yin Changxing and was smashed by Yin Changxing. Since you want a fair and above-board battle, come on. Listen to Long Chen. Do you have a companion spirit beast? Call it out, and let me see how strong the unity of man and beast is. Mo Nian holds a long bow and looks serious. You are not enough. Yin Chang's gun swings and points to Mo Nian with a sneer. However, half of the smile, the air flows around him, and a spade appears and blows it hard on his face. Pa, with a bang, the spade made a solid sound, and Yin Changxing, like a gyroscope, was taken far away. Idiot, you don't eat and drink, and you don't pay for it. Now it's okay. Your face is being sucked, and you can't earn any money. Hey, why do you drop it? Come and bite me. Mo Nian's face was a grim smile, and his face was full of obscene color. It turned out that he put on a fighting posture, but it was a fraud to fight for this opportunity. Mo Nian waved the spade in his hand and twisted his waist to shake his buttocks at Yin Changxing in the distance. He was as obscene as he wanted to be, and as angry as he was. I'll fight with you. Yin Changxing's hair is messy, his face is ferocious, his eyes are red with blood, fierce as the devil. Mo Nian completely makes him mad. The supreme blood leads, the god is possessed. Yin Changxing roared up to the sky, his supreme breath broke out, and the blood-red flame began to burn. He burned his pride. Is he crazy? Some people exclaim that Yin Changxing even burned the supreme blood. This is a self-mutilation move that damages Shou Yuan. Boom, with the roar of Yin Changxing, a huge figure appeared between heaven and earth. As soon as the figure appeared, the fierce divine power made the heaven cry, as if to crush the world. Mo Nian, I'm going to take you out of your skin and bruise your bones and ashes. When the figure appeared behind Yin Changxing, the breath of Yin Changxing suddenly rose, even the voice changed, full of bloody taste. Death, Yin Changxing stepped out one step, and the heaven and earth at his feet collapsed and rushed to Mo Nian. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3908 Boom. When the figure falls behind Yin Changxing, the spirit is stirring. At that moment, Yin Changxing's blood flow, even a breath, can affect the roar of heaven. Yin Changxing's long spear stirred up, sealed the sky and locked the earth, covered the heaven and earth, broke through the sky and went straight to Mo Nianzi. They'll go. What's that? Is it the Lord of the Temple of the Holy Dan? Looking at that figure, Mo Niang cried out. When the long gun came, his figure was a flash, the long gun passed by, he even avoided. What? Many people are surprised that Yin Changxing's spear is locked in the world. Even outsiders feel the horror of locking in, but Mo Nian is so elusive that he is not affected at all. Yin Changxing roared and stabbed several guns, but each blow failed. Mo Nian was as cunning as a fish. When he locked it, he could always avoid it. This was not in line with the law of the cultivation world. Yin Changxing was going to be angry. Hello, may I ask you something? Is that guy the master of your holy Dan hall? Don't look like a dead father. Mo Nian dodged and asked at the same time. The tone was like chatting with a friend. Say you it. Yin Changxing broke the law. Yin Changxing never scolded anyone in his life, but he broke the precept here. He has always thought that swearing is the performance of incompetence and the cry of the weak, but today he found that only swearing can cause harm to the other party. Ilgo, my mouth stinks? Did your father and mother feed you a handful of excrement and urine? Mo Nian was scolded, disdaining the tunnel. If you have the seed, you can fight with me in the open. Yin Changxing roared. Fool, you never know how powerful your master Mo is. Haven't you heard of it? Mo Nian suddenly patted his forehead and looked annoyed. While avoiding Yin Changxing's attack, Mo Nian said, Today, you forget an important thing. You should slow down your attack, cough up. I'm going to start pretending to be forced. Please listen to me recite a poem. Wuliang Palace in front of Wuliang Mountain, Wuliang outside Wuliang Gate, Tianjiazhou. There is no way out in the dream, but when you meet Mo Nian, it becomes empty. Chant Yuet Yin Chong was so angry that his face was purple. Mo Nien kept avoiding, just like a piece of smoke. He had a body of strength, but he could not hit him. And Mo Nien played him as a monkey and recited poems in public. This feeling even made him feel angry even then he slapped him in the face with a shovel. Yin Chongsheng scolded him. The 18 generations of Mo Nien's ancestors were not spared. The strong men on the battlefield were endless, and all of them were stupid. They have seen a lot of shrew swearing, but they have never seen in their life. Tian Jiao, who is powerful to such a terrible state, is as crazy as a shrew. The gunfire roared and the abuse was fierce. The whole world was almost covered by Yin Changsheng's voice. Yin Chongsheng scolded every move. It seemed that he had adapted to the rhythm. The more he scolded, the harder he swore, the sharper the attack. In the distance, countless Tianjiao people dressed in the clothes of Shengdan Hall were all dumbfounded. Yin Chongsheng was like a god in their hearts, and could even curse people. Their faces were strange and their eyes were full of unbelievable looks. However, without the command of Yin Chongsheng, they did not dare to rush out and could only stand in the distance to watch the battle. In the distance, there are not only the strong men of the Holy Dan Hall, but also the powerful people of countless races, such as the demons, the blood clans, the monsters, the giants, the underworld, and so on. The crowd has stretched to the sky, and the movement here has attracted countless strong people, but these strong people have ethnic groups. They have been watching from afar, and they have not set foot in the core area of the battlefield. In the core area of the battlefield, the creatures who are crazy attacking the Dragon Blood Legion are all a group of loose repair or some smaller tribes. They are just a group of mobs. They are really terrible creatures. They are watching from afar. When Mo Nian and Yin Chongsheng were fighting each other, Mengqi, Bai Shishir, Dan Xianzi, Bai Xiaola and Guoran were fighting fiercely with Yomu Giant, Weng Tinghao and mysterious beast Xiu. Several people worked together to block them out. Yu Zifeng and Jiuyou Luosha are inseparable at this time. Their swords are vertical and horizontal, tearing the sky and the ground. No one dares to approach their battlefield. On the other hand, there are countless scattered practitioners who are also fighting hard. The treasures are crazy. Crazy people are the most terrible. They are fierce and fearless. They just want to tear the Dragon Blood Army's array into a hole. They think that by tearing a hole, they will have a chance to get the Dragon Scale. But what they didn't think about was that even if they broke the blockade of the Dragon Blood Army, when the Dragon Blood Army broke the seal, countless powerful people who watched the battle would rush in instantly, and the sea of people would submerge them. They still had no chance. However, when a person is crazy, there is no reason for this saying, only treasure in mind, nothing else. More and more powerful people gathered around, and more powerful people with a sense of terror came. They were all giants and leaders of all ethnic groups. When they arrived, they did not directly engage in the battle. Instead, they sat on the sidelines, looked at the battlefield situation, occupied an advantageous position, and then waited quietly. It's not good. There are more and more people. They have sealed up the whole world. There's no place to hide. There's no place to escape. Bai Xiaola stands on the head of the nine-tailed demon fox in the purple pupil and looks at the endless sea of people in the distance, which makes his scalp numb. Why do you want to hide and escape? I'm afraid. How can I get out of here? Purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox angry way. For this contract partner, it is very dissatisfied. The key is that there are too many enemies. We can attack hundreds with one enemy and thousands with one enemy. But with so many people in front of us, I'm afraid we will have 100 million enemies. Bai Xiaola exclaimed somewhat unconvinced. There are too many enemies, too many frightening, and the strong here are all powerful Tianjiao. They stare at Longchen like a hungry wolf and regard it as prey. Bai Xiaola has never been through such a terrible situation. Naturally, he is a little flustered. Fool, how many ants can kill an elephant? You shut up and don't talk. It's a shame. Purple pupil nine-tail fox rode. But I'm afraid. Bai Xiaola's voice is a little shaky. You. Purple pupil nine-tail demon fox is angry to want to smoke him, but in the end or endure anger way, You don't worry, as long as I am in, you certainly can't die. You give me to concentrate on fighting, soul power concentration, good running in tacit understanding, critical moment. I need your strength in order to release the big move. Okay, after hearing this, Bai Xiaola suddenly came to the spirit, no longer afraid, and concentrated on cooperating with the nine-tailed fox. Boom and boom. Suddenly, four explosions broke out from the east, the south, the west and the north at the same time, and the four earth-shaking breath came. The strong people on the scene felt awe-stricken and looked at the four directions respectively. The god's mighty one who combines the supreme blood and the supreme bone? When seeing four figures, countless people exclaimed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3909. It is 1,000 times more difficult for those who are strong in the divine realm to fuse the supreme blood and the supreme bone. However, some people have succeeded. Moreover, it was not only one person who succeeded, but four people appeared at once. They seemed to have agreed to kill them from four different directions at the same time. Full defense, Xia Chen exclaimed, commanding the Dragon Blood Army to make all-out defense. Boom! With a burst of sound, 2,700 Dragon Blood soldiers. At the same time, the blood spurts wildly. After the power is dispersed, they are finally defeated by the attack of four peerless strong men. The Dragon Blood soldiers fly backward, and the formation is broken in an instant. Those four people are old white-haired monsters. In the 3,000 world, all of them are activated stone levels. They have endured for countless years, waiting for today. Boom! Xia Chen tried his best to stop one of them, but he was beaten by a blow. In front of the old man, he seemed so weak, and the strength of the old man was no less than that of Yin Changxing, Zhuyo Luosha, Ji Wuming and other peerless Tianjiao. Meng Qi, Bai Shishi, Deng Xianzi and others rushed back to rescue, but the distance was too far, and there was no time for them. They were all white. Boom! Just as the four men clawed at the dragon dust, a coffin suddenly appeared. The coffin stood upright and the lid opened like a big mouth, swallowing the dragon dust. The four men's attacks hit the coffin at the same time. Roll, a cold drink came, and the four horrible old monsters snorted, and were shocked to roll out. Emo Nian, Xia Chen was surprised to find that Emo Nian appeared on the top of Long Chen's head and wrapped it with an ancient coffin. If the ancestors were buried upright, the descendants would be wonderful. Emo Nian used the coffin to protect the dragon dust, and a proud smile appeared on his face. However, he soon felt that his words were not quite right. Mistake. Boom! At this time, the four old monsters roared and killed again. All of them were powerful gods. Now the supreme blood and the supreme bone were fused, and their power was overwhelming. Protection boss. The Dragon Blood soldiers roared and quickly gathered to prepare for another battle. Suddenly, Emo Nian's long bow was like the full moon, and a golden arrow was aimed at a strong man. At the moment when he pulled the bow, the mysterious palace in the vision behind him was twisted, as if there was a mysterious power, which was sucked into the long bow. Boundless where cloud, at this time, Emo Nian put away the previous bohemian, his face was full of solemn color, and the whole person's breath suddenly became chilly. When Emo Nian's big hand was released, the arrow passed through the heaven and earth in an instant, forming a road of death on a straight line. Poof! The old monster, which combined the supreme bone and the supreme blood, resisted with all his strength, but in front of this arrow, it was like paper paste, with people and weapons, and instantly turned into nothingness. Boom! After the arrow, a black passage was formed between heaven and earth. After a breath, the passage burst into pieces, and the world collapsed. The scene was extremely frightening. What level of power is this? Someone yelled in horror. People were just shocked by the appearance of four bipolar supreme old monsters. As a result, Emo Nian killed such a horrible existence with one arrow. Strange holy power? Some people exclaim that although the power of Emo Nian is very strange, it also has the power of holiness, which is also a kind of power of faith. It suddenly dawned on all of us. No wonder Mo Nian was not affected by Yin Changsheng's belief. He also had this power. If you want to die, please come here. Mo Nian's long bow in hand, long hair fluttering, carrying the magic power of killing the horrible old monster, stands in the heaven and earth, showing the world's grandeur. Death? However, Mo Nian's words scared other people, but he couldn't frighten the angry Yin Changsheng. Yin Changsheng's spear was agitated, and the man and the gun were united, and rushed at Mo Nian. Extract the power of vision to bless yourself. How many times can you send such a big move? Yin Changsheng drinks cold. Bang! In the face of Yin Changsheng's attack, Mo Nian didn't shrink back anymore, and the long bow rushed forward, accurately positioned on the tip of his gun. Bang! With a sharp bend of the long bow, the two men flew backward like a spring. Mo Nian skillfully received Yin Changsheng's blow, and had time to sneer. Don't worry about how many times I can shoot, an idiot like that just now can kill 180. It should be okay. If you want to brag, I'll bet you can make 10 attacks like that. I'll eat shit in public. Yin Changsheng sneered. No wonder your mouth is so smelly. You grew up eating excrement. It's no fun to bet like this. You eat shit and add food. Mo Nian disdains the tunnel. Death? Yin Changsheng was furious. Suddenly, the figure behind him trembled and twisted slightly. Yin Changsheng's spear suddenly bloomed, and his divine power rose rapidly. He stabbed at Mo Nian. People exclaimed, "This move is just a Mo Nian to kill the bipolar supreme old monster." He actually made it out. Boom! Just when people thought that they were going to have a world-shaking match, they didn't expect that Mo Nian's figure flashed. At the critical moment, he dodged away. Yin Changsheng's shot burst the void, and the void was disillusioned. It seemed that the world was going to be pierced by this shot. The gun was powerful, but it didn't hit people. Yin Changsheng almost vomited blood. He never dreamed that he could not lock Mo Nian with the power of vision. He wanted to compete with Mo Nian, but he wasted so much energy in vain. Oh my dear, don't you look good? It's so close that you miss it? Mo Nian avoids a blow and laughs and sprinkles salt on Yin Changsheng's wound. How can you hide this time? Yin Changsheng suddenly looks at the coffin where the dragon dust is, and suddenly his body shakes and rushes to the coffin of Long Chen. Play this game? It's too childish. Do you try one? Mo Nian's mouth showed a touch of sarcasm. His long bow was like the full moon, and the arrow pointed at Yin Changsheng. The vision behind him kept shaking. The power of the vision would be injected into the long bow at any time. At that moment, Yin Changsheng's hair fell on his head, and he was locked. If he attacked the coffin of Long Chen, Mo Nian's arrow would surely hit him. He could not sacrifice his life to attack Long Chen's coffin. Let's not say, can we smash the coffin of the dragon dust? Even if we kill the dragon dust, Mo Nian's arrow will also kill him. Shameless bastard, Yin Chang was so angry that he stepped into the void and ran straight to Mo Nian to kill him. Then, as he expected, once he killed Mo Nian immediately regained his momentum and continued to fight with him instead of fighting with him. Yin Changsheng cursed and called on the three old monsters to continue to attack Long Chen's coffin. However, the three men were scared to death by Mo Nian's arrow, and they didn't dare to fight for a time. Yin Changsheng roared, "A group of idiots, are you still waiting for the opportunity? If it goes on like this, the dragon dust will completely absorb the holy dragon scale." Yin Changsheng yelled, but no one responded to him. Yin Changsheng bit his teeth and suddenly stopped drinking. "Fire Kirin, let's go." Boom! As he stopped drinking, the void suddenly vibrated, and a flame meteor fell from the sky and rushed to the coffin where Long Chen was. In the fire, a unicorn, like a mountain flame, rushes to the coffin of dragon dust. At this time, its breath is even stronger than Yin Changsheng. When the flame Kirin appeared, Mo Nian's face changed. He thought the flame Kirin was in Yin Changsheng's soul space, but he didn't expect that it was killed from other places. The flame Kirin was so powerful that it was in danger of breaking the coffin. Mo Nian wanted to deal with the flame Kirin. Yin Changsheng had already prepared for it, broke out with all his strength, and sealed off Mo Nian's route. Mengqi and others want to rescue in the past, and their opponents are frantically blocking, and they don't give them a chance to rescue. Seeing the flame, the unicorn was about to rush to the front of the coffin. Suddenly, the wind trembled, and a snow-white paw came out of the void and patted it on its head. Boom! The earth broke, the vigorous wind rolled, and the endless blades of wind moved, cutting the heaven and earth into holes. The incomparable flame unicorn was actually pressed on the ground by the white claws. Then, a whole body of snow-white wolf slowly appeared. When the wolf appeared, all the people of the Dragon Blood Army issued a loud cheer. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:10 Xiaoxue. When she saw the big wolf with snow-white body and a red fur embedded in her eyebrow, Mingqi screamed excitedly. Light snow is no longer the original light snow. It is huge, like a mountain, with the supreme divine power, like the wolf god standing on the red earth, with the air of emperor who looks down on the 9 days. Its body ripple, that is hundreds of millions of wind blade in the flow, it appears, the wind system rules between heaven and earth, around its side, constantly worship it. Roar, when the snow roars up to the sky, the sound is eternal. In the voice, there is endless king's spirit and strong emotion. Snow, it's really light snow. When the snow wolf appeared, people thought of Xiaoxue for the first time, but its noble imperial spirit made people feel very strange and did not dare to recognize each other. But when Xiaoxue responded to this sound, all of a sudden determined that this terrible snow wolf is Xiaoxue, and Xiaoxue is back. Boom! Snow a paw on the flame unicorn. The flame unicorn roar, crazy struggle, endless flame rising. The earth is constantly broken, but cannot escape the suppression of snow. Xiaoxue ignored the flame unicorn which was suppressed by it, but looked back at the coffin erected by it, and the endless warm current was shown in her eyes. Howling Moon serious? Is it your boss partner? Purple pupil nine-tail fox see snow, pupil suddenly shrink, eyes with a deep shock color. I don't know. Bai Xiaola shakes his head, he does not know the existence of snow. Boom! Suddenly, the earth trembled suddenly, and the huge figure of light snow rose slowly. The flame unicorn at its feet struggled for several times, and suddenly the body expanded rapidly and became bigger. It's burning the rune of life. It's going to be desperate. Mingqi exclaimed and reminded Xiaoxue in a loud voice. She knew that the flame Kirin, under the suppression, was unable to break free, and even burned the origin of life in exchange for the supreme combat power. Xiaoxue takes her eyes away from Long Chen and looks at the flame Kirin growing under her claws. At this time, the flame unicorn turns its head and stares at Xiaoxue. In her eyes, the fierce light is revealed. When she looks at the flame Kirin, the tenderness in her eyes disappears and is replaced by a cold killing. Suddenly, she opens her mouth and bites on the head of the flame unicorn. Boom boom. The flame unicorn roared and struggled wildly. Before it was crushed by the sharp claws of the snow, it was bitten by the snow again. It struggled wildly and the wildfire was raging, and the world would be melted by the terrible high temperature. But the snow was not affected by the power of the fire, and even the flames could not hurt its appearance. Suddenly, a bloody bright moon appeared behind the snow. At the moment of the appearance of the bloody bright moon, the killing spirit between heaven and earth suddenly became active. The calm wind energy around Xiaoxue suddenly became violent, and the endless vigorous wind was roaring and roaring. In light snow's mouth, a huge whirlpool is formed. The power of fire between heaven and earth is swallowed up by the vortex, and the flame unicorn is compressed by the terrible gap energy, and its volume is getting smaller and smaller. The flame unicorn suddenly uttered a cry of terror. It was shocked to find that it could not move. Even the power of the flame was blocked by the mysterious power. Suddenly, the body of Xiaoxue shudders suddenly, and the endless wind energy flows in his mouth, which envelopes the body of the flame unicorn. Boom! People will see a ball of wind and fire intertwined, shot out, straight to the distance to rush. Not good, in that direction, it is the gathering place of the powerful in Shengdan Hall, and the fireball flies to that direction in an impartial manner. The strong men of the Holy Dan Hall were scared out of their wits and ran for their lives. Boom! The huge ball of wind and fire exploded, and the sphere with flame Kirin as its core was like a startling bomb. The fierce flame swept the sky by the force of wind. By the wind, the fire devoured 1,000,000 miles of space in an instant. The powerful men of the Holy Dan Hall, without even humming, were shattered by the force of terror and turned into nothingness, with no bones left. Even their weapons were blown to pieces, and few of them could be preserved completely. So many powerful people in the Holy Dan Hall were killed by one blow, and all of them were scared to protrude their eyes. It is not so much that these people died in Xiox's hands, rather, they died in the self-explosion of Flame Kirin. The snow controlled the Flame Kirin, guided by the force of the wind, set it off as a giant firecracker. The Fire Kirin was killed, and countless disciples of the Holy Dan Hall turned into nothingness. It can be said that this was the most terrible blow since the beginning of the war. Looking at the flames towering, vigorous wind rolling soil, endless strong and the earth into nothingness, that picture scared everyone. People look at the snow, only see a blood moon hanging high, under the moon a snow wolf looking down on all living beings, that picture unforgettable for life. Good, ha ha. To our surprise, Yin Changsheng laughed when the Flame Kirin was killed. He seemed very excited. People thought he was crazy when he laughed. After the death of the Flame Qilin, Yin Changsheng's breath began to change and become more and more dangerous. Boom! Yin Changsheng's breath began to rise in the invisible, as if there was an endless force infused into his body. The power of his field began to surge, and the scope became larger and larger, and the figure behind him became more and more solid. This. Xia Chen and others look at Yin Changsheng's shocked face. I really want to thank you. You may not know that my family has a secret agreement with the Flame Kirin. I have signed a soul contract with this Flame Kirin since I was born. I have endless talent, but I was delayed by this fool. Most of my strength was absorbed by it, and this fool, for so many years, has not been able to awaken the unicorn. I wanted to kill it for a long time, but I didn't want to offend the Flame Kirin clan. This matter has been delayed. Today you killed it. My stolen power has finally returned. I don't have to fight against this stumbling block anymore. Ha ha ha. Yin Changsheng looked up at the sky and laughed. His vision roared, the field trembled, and the breath kept climbing. It seemed that there was no end to end. The pressure of the void roared, and the signs of cracking appeared. This time, try to escape another one. Yin Changsheng suddenly showed a ferocious smile on his face. The gun roared, a gun straight into Emonian. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:11. Yin Changsheng's spear roared and the flames roared like an angry dragon. He went straight to Emoniancy. At that moment, Emonien felt the space around him, and instantly became an iron wall. With the powerful power of belief, he could no longer be as free as before. This blow could not escape. Boom, a burst of sound, Emonien's long bow trembled and met Yin Changsheng with a blow. As a result, he was shocked by Yin Changsheng, and Emonien's blood gushed out. Emonien stabilized his body, wiped off the blood from the corners of his mouth, and his eyes became more and more fierce. So it is. You regard your accompanying spirit beast as pawnshop. Now that he is dead, you not only take your own strength, but also take it back with interest. If you take the power of the Flame Kirin as your own, you will take the pawnshop together. If you combine the two forces, you can really control the power of faith. Yin Changsheng's belief power is external force. He is not the god of faith, so he can only borrow it. But his strength is too weak. Even if he has the power of faith, he cannot completely control it. If the other side is a general strong one, he can indeed achieve absolute suppression. However, in the face of Emonien, the power of his belief is almost invalid to Emonien. Now that the Flame Qilin is killed, Yin Changsheng's strength has soared, and his breath has changed. At this time, he can finally control the power of faith. This blow has hurt Emonien a lot. You're right. The power of my faith is my master's. I only have the form, not the god. But now it's different. I've got its unicorn fire, and it's blended with the fire of faith. Now I can really control the power of faith. You can realize that there is only endless death waiting for you. A shot shakes Emon. Instead of pursuing Emon, Yin Changsheng holds a long gun and goes straight to Xiaoxue. Beast, you killed the flame unicorn, and I killed you, which is revenge for it. Boom! With the snow's mouth open, a crescent-like wind blade flies out rapidly to meet the storm. The wind force between heaven and earth pours into the wind blade. The wind blade suddenly soars thousands of miles, just like a transparent god's blade, flying across the sky. Boom! Yin Changsheng stopped drinking, his spear was waving and his wind blade broke. The endless wind energy surged, and the heaven and earth trembled like tides. You can kill the flame unicorn because the wind and fire complement each other. Because it belittles the carelessness of the enemy, it will be killed by you. Your wind power will not work for me. Yin Changsheng sneered. As it said, wind and fire complement each other. For example, mountain fire will burn more and more vigorously when it meets the wind. However, if the wind gathers but does not disperse, if it is concentrated into a little, it will blow out the fire. Therefore, the relationship between wind and fire is extremely graceful. The power of fire is easy to control in front of the force of wind. If you let it be strong, it will be strong. If you let it die, it will die. Therefore, many fire practitioners are not willing to fight with the strong wind. However, Yin Changsheng is not a pure practitioner of fire system. He now has a strong power of faith. The power of fire merges with the power of faith. The power of wind cannot shake his power of fire. Boom! But as soon as Yin Changsheng finished his boasting, his face changed. Because more than a dozen wind blades came across the sky, just as he resisted the first blade, Xiaoxue spit out more than a dozen blades at one breath. Yin Changsheng quickly brandishes the long gun to resist back and forth. To his surprise, the wind blade of Xiaoxue is stronger and stronger. Gradually, there are all the vigorous winds in the world. Self-created field? Yin Changsheng's face changed. With more and more wind blades spit out by the snow, the wind force between heaven and earth becomes stronger. When the wind blows, it stirs the void, and the wind force between heaven and earth is naturally driven up. Once it moves, it will never stop. As the light snow constantly excites the wind blade, it is like adding firewood to the flame. The flame will burn more and more vigorously. The vigorous wind whirls between the heaven and the earth, and gradually forms a huge vortex. Yin Changsheng broke more than a dozen wind blades in a row. Suddenly, a blade flew across his cheek. On his cheek, the sharp blade cut a big hole in his face. Even his body-protecting spirit was unable to resist. Yin Changsheng's heart was awe-stricken. Looking at the gradually forming vortex, he suddenly roared, and the shadow behind him twisted and shot out. Boom! The wind blade broke all over the sky, and the spear went through the whirlpool and went straight to Xiaoxue's stab. Yin Changsheng was scared. He finally saw the horror of Xiaoxue's move. At this time, the whirlpool of light snow has not yet formed. It has such terrible energy. If it is completely formed, the power cannot be imagined. He does not hesitate to use the power of vision to break the blow of light snow. The whirlpool is interrupted, and the wind blade is scattered in the sky. Yin Changsheng breaks through the air, and the spear goes straight to the snow. Boom! As a result, Emon long bows smashed violently, blocking Yin Changsheng's attack. Emon eyes were as bright as electricity, and his face rarely showed a serious look. Looking at Yin Changsheng, he said to Xiaoxue Dao, "Xiaoxue, you go to guard the dragon dust this guy gives me." Xiaoxue had planned to do it, but seeing the arrival of Emon, he went straight to the dragon dust, because at this time, countless strong men were besieging the dragon blood army, and the safety of dragon dust was more important. At this time, Mingqi, Dan Xianzi, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and others had already narrowed the battle circle, no longer fighting on their own, but taking absolute defensive measures to ensure the safety of Longqin. Because at this time, the whole body of Longqin is in full bloom, and the coffin of Emon is actually in a transparent state. You can clearly see that during this period of time, Long Chen is absorbing the third true dragon rune. When dragon dust absorbed the third rune, the remaining 5 real dragon runes were slowly dissipating. At that moment, people speculated that Long Chen was afraid that time would not be enough. Finally, he chose the 3 most important runes to absorb, abandoned the rest of the runes and burned the rest to help himself absorb them. Otherwise, according to the previous speed, the first rune may not be absorbed, but now it has begun to absorb the third rune. Once this rune is absorbed, Long Chen can get out of the pass. The people who saw this step were not only Mingqi and others, but also countless strong men. They suddenly became irritable and began to frantically attack the defense circle of the Dragon Blood army. When the snow returns, the big mouth opens and a series of wind blades shoot out, tearing the heaven and earth, covering thousands of miles away. Countless strong people are directly chopped by the wind blade, and the blood mist is all over the sky, and the lethality is extremely amazing. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion in the distance, and another huge figure rolled over. When she saw that figure, Menqi's face changed greatly. Xiao Yun. The figure flying backwards is not someone else, it is Xiao Yun. At this time, there is a big hole in Xiaoyun's chest, and his beating heart can be seen in the blood flowing. Xiao Yun is seriously injured. Be careful, everyone. The corpse is mutated. Xiao Yun exclaimed. Boom! In the distance, there was black air all over the sky. In the endless black air, the ferocious figure of Corpse Plague appeared. To our horror, his breath soared several times than before. The golden horn on his head was shining like the sun, as if he had changed a person. He killed countless powerful demons and sacrificed their lives for endless power. Xiao Yun exclaimed in horror. Ha ha ha, go to death, I will not keep it any more. The corpse Tsai grinned grimly, and his claws were as sharp as electricity, and went straight to the people to catch them. At the moment of his capture, a claw mark of tens of thousands of miles appeared between heaven and earth, covering all the people and pressing the breath of death in an instant. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:12. Resist with all one's strength. Xia Chen's face changed a lot. At this time, the Corpse Plague even activated the original magic power of the Archean Devil Corpse. They were dealing with a supreme being from the Archean era. The Wall of Thick Soil. When Li Qi and Song Mingyuan stopped drinking at the same time, the evil spirits behind them disappeared and a boundless world of thick soil appeared. When the vision appeared, the earth surged and quickly gathered into 2 walls of 10,000 li bombardment. However, the 2 people switched to defensive posture, which failed to block the attack of Corpse Plague. The city wall of Wanli collapsed, and the Corpse Plague covered the sky with wings, and the evil spirit gushed out, which was irresistible. Dragon Blood Cross-Cut, Golden Lotus Present World, Tianhong Chop. Facing the Corpse Plague at this time, all the people attacked with all their strength. It's beyond the capacity of the mantis. She laughed. Boom boom. Those attacks hit the Corpse Plague and made a great noise. However, the black rune on the Corpse Plague's body flowed. All these attacks were blocked and could not hurt him at all. The power of blood and soul of 3 million powerful demons completed this sacrifice, and helped me open some runes of this Archean demon corpse. Although it's just the most superficial part, it's the last age on the god's honor. It's the strong man in the ancient times. You ants can't resist it. Now I'm immortal. Corpse Tsai's face was gloomy and yelled. He braved the attack of the people and went straight to kill the dragon dust. Boom! The big array composed of dragon blood soldiers was knocked through by him, and the dragon blood soldiers flew backward. At this time, the Corpse Plague was just like an ancient demon, which could not be resisted. The people were frightened, angry, and anxious. The Corpse Plague activated the rune on the corpse and controlled the magic power of the Archean demon corpse. No one could hurt him. Hiss! Suddenly, a long sword was cut in the air, and he ran straight to the neck of Corpse Tsai. Suddenly, his face changed, and his back wings quickly blocked him. Poof! The sword was cut on the wings, and the wings were scratched with blood, but they could not be cut off. The shooter is Yu Zifeng. At the critical moment, he gave up Jiuyou Luocha and came to rescue him. However, the corpse plague and the rune of body protection circulated at this time, and his sword could not cause any real damage to corpse plague. Dare you despise me? The roar of Jiuyou Luocha came, and she was like a flash of lightning. But when she saw the dragon dust in the coffin, she suddenly changed her direction and went straight to the dragon dust. Hiss! At the moment when she flew out, her face suddenly changed. Her body suddenly stopped and quickly regressed. It was a dagger, which was close to her neck and drew a blood stain on her neck. Jiuyou Luocha is frightened, angry and scared. If you dodge slowly you will have moved. The figure of Dong Minjiu, a petite figure, appeared. As soon as her figure appeared, it was like a flash of lightning on Jiuyou Luocha. The attack of fierce wind and rainstorm forced Jiuyou Luocha back and forth. Suddenly, Dong Minjiu's figure disappears again. Jiuyou Luocha is shocked and doesn't know what Dong Minjiu is going to do. When, suddenly, there was a sound in the distance, two daggers collided, and a figure flew out of the void in confusion, flew backward, and flew straight to Jiuyou Luocha. That embarrassed figure is no one else, is the Blood Kill Hall first genius killer Ji Wuming. At this time, Ji Wuming was covered with blood, with more than a dozen blood holes in her body, and her hair was in disorder. You two go on together. Dong Minjiu holds a dagger in his hand, and his long hair is floating. He looks like a black leopard in the dark night. He is beautiful and dangerous. With one pair of two, his eyes are still sharp and indifferent, without any pressure. Arrogant little girl, you die. Jiuyou Luocha is so arrogant. She was stopped by Yu Zifeng before, but now she has changed to a little girl. She has already held back her anger. Now, this little girl has let her join hands with Ji Wuming, which is a great insult to her. The sword of Jiuyou Luocha shakes and kills Dong Minjiu. One move is the most fierce move. The roaring sword qi stirs up the void, and its prestige is terrible. Don't be rash. She has a strange body, and she specifically suppresses us. Ji Wuming yelled. He had a fierce battle with Dong Minjiu before. He had learned the horror of Yingzong's inheritance. His moves were restrained by him. In front of Dong Minjiu, his strength could not be exerted. If he had not been able to keep calm and know how to endure, he would have been killed by Dong Minjiu. If you fight against Dong Minjiu, you should avoid impetuousness. Otherwise, if you are caught by Dong Minjiu, a terrible killer, you will surely die in one blow. Shut up, you are reckless. Your whole family is reckless. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do, not to mention you, a defeated general of others. Yu Luocha disdains to scold away. Stupid woman. Ji Wuming was green with anger. He looked at Long Chen and the situation on the battlefield. Finally, he rushed to Dong Minjiu and chose to fight Dong Minjiu with Jiuyou Luocha. Dang dang dang. Dong Minjiu's speed is as fast as electricity, sometimes as fast as ghosts, and sometimes as graceful as a startling goose. He is willing to advance and retreat as he pleases. He is both offensive and defensive. He never loses ground with one enemy and two. Dong Minjiu has one enemy and two enemies, and Jiuyou Luocha and Ji are dead. They can't walk and kill each other. However, the Dragon Blood Army is very dangerous. All of them joined forces to attack Corpse Plague, but the body of Corpse Plague was too terrible. Especially by sacrificing, activating the rune on the demon corpse was equivalent to opening up the body protecting spirit of the demon corpse. Even the invincible sword qi of Yu Zifeng could not cause fatal damage to him. But other people's attack is unable to leave any scar on his body. The Corpse Plague then braved the public's attack to rush forward, gradually approaching the coffin of dragon dust. The most irritating thing is that at this time, those strong people who were previously frightened out, like vultures smelling opportunities, swooped on them. At this time, people not only want to resist the Corpse Plague, but also resist Weng Tingao, Yamu Giant and the strange beast Xiu. It seems that these three people are not doing their best, but waiting for the opportunity. It can be said that the battlefield is full of dangers, and the enemy is waiting for an opportunity to get close to the dragon dust. Once this opportunity appears, They will show their fangs in an instant and burst out with all their strength. At present, the biggest threat on the battlefield is corpse plague. The most terrifying thing is that the corpse plague always has an indescribable grim smile on its mouth, which makes people feel that the danger is not only in front of them. Boom! At this time, suddenly, the sky burst in the distance, and a team, like a long dragon, came at a gallop. They were all full of evil spirit, and the number of people was endless. These powerful demons, one by one empty eyes, as if by what control the soul, facial expression to the crazy rush here. You think that's all I have? This is just the beginning. I sacrifice those who watch the battle with the secret method of Corpse Demon Road. Now my spirit of corpse and devil has invaded the whole 3,000 worlds. All the powerful demons above the fairyland are summoned by me. When I sacrifice their lives, I will wake up this archaic demon corpse. They are all keeping and waiting. That's because they don't have confidence, and Lao Tzu is not afraid. Once the Archean corpse is activated, the 3,000 worlds will respect me, and the whole world will submit to me. Corpse Tsai looks up to the sky and laughs. All of a sudden his hands are printed. Those hundreds of millions of powerful demons who are flying away burst into flames, and the endless blood essence turns the sky red. Corpse demon sacrifice, corpse plague roared, and his body swayed into the endless sea of blood. The rune on his body quickly lit up, and the ancient and fierce breath radiated, which was so strong that it was hopeless. Start the devil and suppress the soul, purify. All of a sudden, a divine light came down from the sky, and the holy light, like the light of the sun, shone on the sea of blood. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:13, Xiaoqian. When Mengqi saw the figure in the distance, she couldn't help cheering. It was Yu Xiaoqian who finally arrived at the critical moment. The magic subduing mark of Yuexiaqian's eyebrows glows, the sacred and solemn divine light falls, the endless sea of blood boils like a pot, and countless blood essence runes are evaporated. If you want to ruin my affairs again, you will die for me. With the roar of corpse plague, Yu Xiaoqian's demonic spirit evaporates his blood essence. As a result, his sacrificial power will be greatly weakened, which cannot meet the requirements of thoroughly activating the demon corpse. With a big wave of corpse plague's hand, a bloody spear condenses in the sea of blood and rushes to the moon to kill Xiaoqian. We all work together to block him and give Xiaoqian more time. Mengqi is the first one to rush to, and the golden bell guards in front of her body and rushes towards the corpse plague. Facing the golden bell, the corpse plague did not dare to fight hard because it was a Horcrux. Every time it hit, he would suffer losses. If it was not done properly, his spirit would be shaken out of the demon corpse. Anyway, Mengqi's attack could not bring him any real damage, so he ignored it. At the moment when he dodges Mengqi, Yu Zifeng cuts down with a sword and points to the key point of corpse plague. Corpse Zao dare not ignore Yu Zifeng's attack and block with bat wings. Although bat wings are covered with scars, Yu Zifeng can't be cut off, so he can't cause fatal damage to him. Boom boom. People's attacks fall in turn, frantically block corpse plague. Do not let him attack Yuexiaqian, only Yu Xiaoqian can interrupt the sacrifice of corpse plague. Not good. In the distance, Xiaoqian yelled, and the people stopped the corpse plague. The Yomu giant took the opportunity to launch a surprise attack and directly rushed to the front of the Dragon Blood army. Because the Dragon Blood army wanted to block the strong enemies from all sides, it was finally torn a gap by the Yomu giant. As soon as the gap appeared, the defense array of the Dragon Blood army was immediately broken. At this time, the Yomu giant rushed to the dragon dust. At the same time, Wang Tingnao, mysterious beast repair, and the strong men who were hiding in the dark waiting for opportunities all became crazy and killed Longchen one after another. "They'll fight with you," Qin Feng roars. Seeing that the battle array is broken, and Longchen has not yet awakened, he roars and rushes to Longchen, hoping to use his own flesh and blood to resist another blow for Longchen. Not only Qin Feng, but also Chi Yu beside him, and other dragon blood soldiers rushed to Longchen one after another in the absence of command in the summer morning. Don't make fearless sacrifice. No one can hurt the dragon dust with my ink reading. Suddenly, Mo Nian, who is inseparable from Yin Changxing, flashed into the coffin where Long Chen was. He took up his bow and sat on the coffin with his hands sealed. The coffin lights up, forming a defense cover of thousands of miles. Boom boom. Countless strong men attacked the shield, but the shield was so tough that it trembled, but those people couldn't rush in. Well, it'll give you 10 years, and you won't be able to break it. Mo Nian sneers, a face arrogant tunnel. But Mo Nian looks disdainful on the surface, but in the heart secretly anxious. Dragon dust, ye can't go, hurry up, brother can't hold on. Boom! At this time, there was a startling explosion. A long flame spear stabbed the shield, and the shield trembled suddenly. There was a spider web crack on it. It was Yin Changsheng's hand. Who, as soon as the ink-reading handprint changes, the spider web-like crack is repaired in an instant, just like nothing happened. Cut, is that all you have to do? Mo Nian heart anxious, on the surface but disdained to ridicule the way. Boom! Suddenly, the sky suddenly darkened, and a figure covering the sky appeared. The figure was bigger than Xiao Yun's chasing and swallowing skylark, which was comparable to the world. A golden wing flying in the sky, the terrible pressure seems to blow up the whole world. The breath of destruction makes the soul shudder. Kunpeng. Mo Nian's face changed, and recognized the origin of this huge figure. Only Kunpeng had the will to break the heaven and earth, not to be bound by heaven and earth. Dragon dust, get out of here. Kunta's voice reverberates between heaven and earth, like the roar of the gods, ringing through every corner of the world. Boom! Kunta's wings fell down and slapped them hard on the boundary. The wings were too big, and the boundary was so small in front of it. With a startling explosion, the Earth's crust was fragmented, the way of heaven collapsed, and endless space-time fragments were flying, and the whole world was almost shattered by this blow. Originally, countless strong people saw the opportunity and made a crazy impact. However, this feathered photo showed that countless strong people were directly shocked into fly ash. Except for the bipolar supreme class, all the strong people in the space of millions of miles were killed. Poof! Mo Nian's mouth of blood gushed out. His open border was full of cracks, and he was almost broken by this blow, and he himself also suffered great strength. Damn it, if it's not for him, I will fight with you today. Mo Nian was furious. This passive defense was too much to lose, and Kunta's power was too strong to gather and disperse. It was impossible to unload it. It could only be collected according to the order. Kuntu appeared with great power and pressure. Countless strong men looked at his huge figure in horror. In front of Kuntu, even the bipolar supremacy was trembling, and the atmosphere did not dare to breathe because of its breath. Kunpeng is now in the world and is subject to eternal obedience. Even the way of heaven dare not resist, and all the living creatures on the scene feel suppressed by his breath. This repression has nothing to do with realm, even blood and soul. It is the crushing of pure will. In front of Kunpeng, any living creature can only bow its head and crawl and submit to its feet. Didn't you break it? Give me another shot. Kunta didn't break the border. He snorted coldly. His claws were shining. He threw himself into the air and grabbed the border. Brothers, don't watch the excitement, stay with me. Mo Nian yelled. At this time, all the dragon blood soldiers, Meng Qi, Dan Xianzi, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and others all stood behind Mo Nian, their hands were imprinted, and the power of qi and blood and soul poured into Mo Nian. Bang! Kunta's second strike was cut off again, which was stronger than the previous one. Mo Nian and others suddenly trembled. However, there were so many people holding on, and the strength was dispersed to everyone, which didn't hurt everyone. The cracks on the boundary healed almost instantly. They won't last long. Let's do it together. Yin Changxing said, seeing the problem, Mo Nian's boundary is extremely terrible. If you rely on one person, you can't break it. Dragon dust has come to the critical moment. Absolutely can't let him completely absorb the dragon scale, all people attack together, they can't last long. Boom boom. Not only did Yin Changxing see the problem, but others also saw it. They attacked one after another. Tens of thousands of bipolar supremacy launched their attacks at the same time. There were endless cracks on the border. Mo Nian and others were under great pressure, and their faces changed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:14, It won't work like this. Our strength is rapidly consuming, and we will soon run out of oil and the lamp will run out. By Xiao Lecoult. I'm not afraid. As long as the eldest brother can absorb the dragon scales smoothly, he can straighten everything out and hold on. Guoran is full of confidence. However, there are too many attacks outside, and they are too dense. All the strength is transferred to them through the border. Their strength is rapidly consumed. A few breathing time consumes more than half of their physical strength. If it goes on like this, they can't bear 3 waves of attacks, and the border will be broken. At that time, all of them have no strength and can only be slaughtered by others. But at this time, the crowd has become a battle of trapped animals. They can only place their hope on dragon dust. Get out of my way. The life of dragon dust can only be that of my dragon. All of a sudden, a startling roar came, such as the roar of the gods, and then one day the moon rose between heaven and earth, and the moment the sun and the moon lit up, a colorful flag came roaring. The 5-element flag of the sun and the moon is the dragon Ao Tian. Mo Nian and others secretly call it bad. This critical moment, the dragon Ao Day unexpectedly came. Bang! The 5-element flag of the sun and the moon cuts down the heaven and earth, penetrates the boundary with one blow, and the blood gushes out of the crowd. The sun-moon 5-element flag is a peerless magic weapon. It contains 7 forces: gold, wood, water, fire, earth, darkness, and light. The 7 forces combine together to smash the coffin boundary of Mo Nian. When the border is broken, countless strong people are killed crazily. In their eyes, dragon dust has become immortal meat, and everyone has to bite it. Roar! With her mouth wide open, a huge ball of wind blade explodes in the void, and countless strong people are shocked to fly by the blow of light snow, and even the most powerful person of bipolar level cannot resist this blow. However, after the blow, the breath dropped rapidly. Before, in order to help everyone defend, it also lost countless strength, which was the strongest blow of its remaining strength. Boom! With a bang, Mo Nian resists with all his strength, and is still swept away by Long Aotian's sun-moon 5-element flag, and his blood spurts wildly. In order to protect the dragon dust, Mo Nian consumes the most. At this time, even Dragon Aotian's attack can't be accepted. When Mingqi blocked the attack of Yomu Giant. As a result, the strength of her soul was too much wasted, and even people with bells were shaken out of the battlefield. Boom boom. The scene was in chaos. Bai Shishir, Dan Xianzi, Yu Zifeng and others couldn't stop the strong men from all directions. Be careful, Mingqi reminds Bai Shishir that the bell in her hand is pushed out by lightning, and goes straight to Bai Shishir and pushes it behind her. Boom! Mingqi's golden bell blocked a sneak attack by the mysterious beast cultivator and saved Bai Shishir. Sister, are you okay? Bai Shishir is trying to block the giant with dark eyes. She doesn't notice the mysterious beast Xiao behind her. If it wasn't for Mingqi, she would be seriously injured if she didn't die. When she saw Mingqi's bleeding from the corners of her mouth and her beautiful eyes were scattered, she could not help but feel ashamed and heartache. As long as you're okay, Mingqi said with a smile that her soul power was not enough. The blow made her soul damaged and extremely uncomfortable, but she tried to bear it, so as not to make Bai Shishir sad. Sister. Bai Shishir is even more ashamed. Good sister, since she is a sister, she will be a sister all her life. Mingqi looked at Bai Shishir and seemed to see through her mind and said with a smile. Bai Shishir nodded. She was a very conceited person, but after seeing Mingqi, she was convinced by her spirit. In her world, Mingqi was the only one who convinced her. Xiaoqian, Mengqi suddenly looked into the distance and couldn't help but exclaim. Without their support, Yu Shaoqian suppressed the corpse plague with her own strength. As a result, she was counterattacked by the corpse plague, and a mouthful of blood gushed. Her suppressed corpse demon sacrifice instantly loosened, and the breath of corpse plague rose rapidly. All previous efforts were in vain. Dragon dust, you rubbish, die. The Sun-Moon 5-element flag goes through the void and goes straight to the dragon dust. At this time, the multicolored divine splendor comes down, and the Danxian's hands are clasped, and her eyebrows glow with color. She even burns her own life power as the price, supporting a colorful shield for the dragon dust. Qingxian no. When she saw Yu Qingxian open her life shield, Menqi's face changed greatly and she rushed forward. Seeing this picture, Mengqi vaguely associated with the War of Annihilation in Tianwu. This picture is so similar to that one. Is Yu Qingxian going to experience reincarnation again? Not only Mengqi, Yu Xiaqian, Dong Minjiu, Guoran, Xiachen and Yu Ezifeng all screamed in horror and rushed to the scene. They did not want the tragedy to repeat itself. However, they were too slow to rescue. They could only watch Yu Qingxian be killed. At that moment, they felt their hearts were not beating. Bang! Just as the Sun-Moon 5-element flag was about to be cut in front of the Dan Fairy, a big hand covered with golden dragon scales seized the Sun-Moon 5-element flag. The furious Sun-Moon 5-element flag was still for a moment, and the infinite power covered on it seemed to disappear in an instant. Why are you so stupid? This blow will kill you, a gentle voice sounded in Danxian's ear. Danxianzi looked back in surprise. She first saw a pair of eyes full of tenderness. At that moment, her tears fell slowly and she choked. I don't know why. I can't watch you die. I'd rather die in front of you. At this time, Danxianzi was also afraid. She was Danxiu, not the real fire repair. Her real strength was in refining pills, not in fighting. She also knew that she would die if she did this, but she would rather die by herself than watch the dragon dust die. Long Chen stretched out his big hand and slowly wiped the tears on Danxian's face. He said in a soft voice, "You have blocked me for 1,000 times. From now on, it's my turn to protect you from the wind and rain. With me, no one can hurt you. Believe me." Looking at Long Chen's sincere and affectionate face, Dan Xianzi nodded cleverly. At this time, she seemed to have forgotten the surrounding battlefield and the endless ferocious enemies like Warcraft. As long as there was dragon dust, she was not afraid of anything. Go to death. The Sun-Moon 5-element flag of Long Outyin was seized by Long Chen, and Long Outyin tried to seize it back. However, he could not shake Long Chen's big hand after taking it for 3 times. It was as if the Sun-Moon 5-element flag was cast on the hand of Long Chen. Under the fury of Long Outyin, he immediately summoned a vision. Boom! As a result, at the moment when he summoned a vision and his strength rose wildly, his hands were shaking, and the flag of the 5 elements of the sun and the moon could not be held, and he was taken away by dragon dust. Dragon dust grabs the sun and moon 5-element flag and swings it violently. The flag turns into a streamer and shoots out. Poof! A huge figure leaping at the dragon dust was pierced by the Sun-Moon 5-element flag, and the blood and rain splashed. The huge figure was smashed and destroyed. What? To the consternation of countless people, the figure was the terrible giant with dark eyes, which was killed by the dragon dust. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:15 Longshan forcibly captured the Sun-Moon 5-element flag of Long Outyin and killed the Yomu giant. You know, Yomu giant is a super terror strong one, with unparalleled strength, flesh terror, and even more has the terrifying Yu clan magic power. Mengqi, Bai Shishir and others tried their best several times to kill it, but they failed to do so. Now Long Chen was born, and with a quick blow, it was destroyed. Long Outyin was shocked. His figure shook and flew backwards. He caught up with the Sun-Moon 5-element flag and seized it in his hand. When the Sun-Moon 5-element flag shook, the blood stains on it flew away, but he didn't take it again. Long Chen shocked the whole audience, and the dragon blood soldiers cheered. Mengqi, Dongminjiu and Xiaoyun were all in tears. They finally saw the peerless demeanor of Longchen again. Longchen was the same dragon dust and never had a change. Mo Nyang was not satisfied with the high voice called, "Yuya, don't talk about love. In order to protect you, brother, I suffered a lot of injustice, a lifetime of fame, almost destroyed in an egg. If it wasn't for you, I would have done my best to kill them. When have I ever suffered such a big loss in my life? I'd hurry up and beat their shit out and give my brother a breath." Was it not for protecting the eggshell of Longchen, Mo Nian would have no scruples and fight with all his might. Now that Longchen comes out, he has no strength. If he wants to pretend to be forced, he has no spare power. When he sees Longchen chirping me with Yu Qingxian, he can't help but get angry. Longchen laughed and gently pressed his big hand on Yu Qingchuan's fragrant shoulder. He said in a soft voice, "You just stand by and watch. They'll take care of everything here." A gentle force sent Dan Xian to Mengqi. Longchen looked at Mengqi, Xiaoyun, Dong Mingyu, Yu Zifeng, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan and other familiar faces. Longchen laughed and his eyes were covered with tears. He nodded. Although there are no words, but such a simple action, but gathered thousands of emotions, we all understand. Dragon dust suddenly, big hands in the air, a grasp, the void burst to pieces, a big figure, was caught by the dragon dust in the air. That person appeared. The first thing that came into view was a bald head. The man was Gu Yang. Gu Yang was caught by the dragon dust. He thought he was attacked by the enemy. He was about to fight back. When he saw the dragon dust, his face appeared ecstatic. "Boss," at this time, Gu Yang was covered with blood, hundreds of wounds were found on his body, and bones could be seen in many places. His breath had begun to be confused, and it was obvious that Gu Yang was at the end of his tether. However, what is shocking is that his fighting spirit is not weakened. At this time, he is like a fearless god of war, who can only die but not be defeated. His fighting spirit is extremely shocking. "Good brother, good boy, but since I'm here, you don't need to work hard. Just clap for the boss." Longchen clapped Gu Yang on the shoulder. "Yes, boss." Gu Yang laughed, put away the long gun, and dragon blood soldiers stand together. He is still dripping blood, but do not care. "Very good, you are lucky, fused the Zulong scale, and finally have the qualification to compete with me. But your ancestral dragon blood essence, after all, is an external force. You are just a humble human race, and how can you control it? I hope you don't disappoint me too much, but I want to use Zulong blood essence to activate Kunpeng's primitive desire. Kunpeng and Longzu have always been the pronoun of the strongest power between heaven and earth. This juxtaposition is the first. It is time for the world to know who is the real boss." Kunta turned into a human figure. His whole body was full of qi and blood, standing on the void, overlooking the dragon dust, cold tunnel. "Tied for first? You can really put gold on your face." Once upon a time, the Kunpeng people bowed to the dragon people and got a chance to breathe. If you didn't kneel down and beg for mercy, the Kunpeng people would have been extinct. It's really interesting to say these things without shame. Is it really so good to deceive yourself? Longchen sneered. "You fart." Kunta was so angry that he let out his wings. This time, he did not transform into the original form, but summoned a pair of abnormal wings. As soon as his wings were shaken, the heaven and earth collapsed, and the divine light on his claws burst into the void and went straight to the dragon dust to kill him. "You have only absorbed 3 Zulong runes, and you don't know the height of heaven and the earth. Today, this is your burial place." Arrogance, hypocrisy, stupidity and ignorance are displayed in you. I have only absorbed the rune of the Tripmezzalong, but you are anxious to interrupt me. To put it bluntly, you are still afraid in your heart and don't want me to get the 3rd rune. Don't you want me to be a grindstone? You want to use me as a grindstone, and you are afraid that my grindstone is too hard to grind you away. Since you are afraid, you should have the heart of awe, rather than just put on such an arrogant posture. Are you performing? Hypocrisy. Longchen hums coldly, does not dodge a blow, and Kun to fight hard. Haha, that's great. That's great. Damn it. The people's eloquence is so strong that they can't get rid of this group of flat-haired animals. Ha ha ha. The voice of the strong man of the dragon clan rings out in Longchen's mind. Obviously, Longchen's drinking and scolding make it have fun and relieve qi. The dragon clan and the Kunpeng clan are old enemies. However, since the Kunpeng clan surrendered to the dragon clan, the gratitude and resentment between them has ended. After all, it is the struggle of heaven and the struggle for the first place. There is no right or wrong. However, after the Kunpeng family surrendered, they suddenly started to attack the dragon family secretly, colluded with foreign forces, attempted to destroy the dragon family, and concealed history, wantonly slandered the dragon family, and actually said that the dragon family had surrendered to them. The most unbearable thing of the arrogant dragon people is cheating and betrayal. When the dragon people are angry, they depict their hatred with Kunpeng in blood and soul. This hatred is handed down from generation to generation. Therefore, it is a life and death struggle for the pure dragon people to meet the Kunpeng family. Boom, a fist and a claw collide, just like two meteors hitting together. Yin and yang are reversed between heaven and earth are shifted. Countless strong people feel that the sky is spinning and the ripples tear the void. The sky is dark and the earth collapses. The endless rocks seem to lose weight and float from the ground to the air, but under the traction of the ripples, they explode one after another. The whole world seemed to collapse, and the faces of countless powerful men were appalled, because Longchen and Kuntu did not use the laws of heaven and earth, but the purest physical strength. Boom! At the joint of fist and claw, the ripples radiate, the destructive power of terror spreads, and the highly concentrated force makes people feel frightened. If they are hit by such force, I'm afraid there will be no ash left. This is a force that countless people can't understand. Is this the strength of the Kunpeng clan? It seems that you know nothing about real power. Pa! Suddenly, Longchen raised his left hand high and slapped Kunta's face in the eyes of countless people. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:16. The palm knot was firmly photographed on Kunta's face. All the gold lines on Kunta's face were smashed, and a spider-like crack appeared on his face. Boom! Kunta people, like a flash of lightning, hit the earth hard. With a bang, the earth resonated with the earth, and the earth's crust was deformed. The earth was torn apart by him, leaving a deep gap that could not be seen. I see. In the process of swing, there should be a rotation. The rotation of the wrist will greatly improve the speed and strength. I've learned. Kuntu was slapped by Longchen, and Emonyen's eyes were full of excitement. He understood Longchen so much that he had been paying close attention to it. He saw the slap clearly and clearly. All of a sudden, he realized the true meaning of it. You don't know anything about real power. Haha, that's a very good word. It's too soothing. Go on, beat him to death, and kill this group of flat-haired animals who don't know the height of heaven and the earth, regardless of the size of the king. The strong man of the dragon clan yelled excitedly. This slap made him feel elated, as if he had smoked it. But Longchen's words were too arrogant and overbearing, and he didn't like it very much. In terms of the ability of pretending and forcing, it seems that the Terran has a unique advantage. If he pretends to be forced, the strong one of the dragon clan can't say it. Dragon dust, take your life. The dragon dust just slapped Kuntu. The boundless black gas has already invaded the sky, the fierce evil spirit attacks, and the corpse plague appears. At this time, he interrupts Uziokian's blockade and completes the corpse demon sacrifice. At this time, his body, endless runes flashing, his body with archaic breath, just like a demon coming from the ancient times. I finished the corpse sacrifice. It's time for a real liquidation. The wings behind the corpse plague trembled and pressed down with one claw. It seemed that the heaven and earth would be crushed by him. At this time, his strength was beyond the scope of everyone's understanding. Liquidation? What's the settlement? Take your body? Even if you activate the rune, his meat has become rigid, and his strength is not even 1/10 of his strength. Are you sure you are not twisted? Longchen sneered. It's enough to kill you even if it's 1/10 of the power. She sneers, attacks unchanged, and is extremely confident. Is it? Long Chen sneered and clapped it out. Boom! With a bang, the dragon dust did not move, but the corpse plague suddenly trembled. The strong on the scene had no argument against the enemy. All of them were shocked. The corpse plague sacrificed countless powerful demons and gained tremendous fighting power, but he could not shake the dragon dust. The wings behind the corpse plague flied across the void like lightning, and went straight to the neck of dragon dust to cut it. The speed of changing moves was incomparable. Bang! Long Chen did not pay attention to the attack of corpse plague at all. He raised his foot and kicked the corpse's armpit fiercely. The sound was shocking and the black blood was scattered in the sky. The corpse is kicked by the dragon dust and sends out a shrill cry. His right hand is torn down by the dragon dust. Let's not keep it. Let's do it together. If we kill him now, we may be able to force out his dragon blood. Once he is thoroughly refined, we will never have a chance. Ji Wuming stopped drinking and his hands were imprinted. Suddenly, the image of Imputa appeared in the vision behind him. It was not a statue of God, but also the god of Imputa. When Imputa came, Jis faith was ignited instantly. His wounds healed in an instant. His breath of decay returned to the peak in an instant, even more terrifying than the peak. When Imputa broke out with all his might, Zhuyo Luosha and Yin Changsheng followed suit. The god of faith appeared behind everyone. It turned out that they had hidden the strongest cards. It suddenly dawned on people that these people were a group of extremely cunning guys, one by one, looking angry and desperate, but actually they were all for others to see. They all want to keep their own strength and fight for dragon blood with the final cards after the death of dragon dust. As a result, they calculated with each other, but the dragon dust was successful. If they didn't play so much in the first place, they would break out at once, and the dragon blood army would not be able to hold on for a long time, and Longchen had no chance to absorb the dragon scale. Now they are in a hurry. The strength of dragon dust is beyond their imagination. If we still want to keep the cards, they will be broken by dragon dust one by one. At that time, let alone dragon blood, it will be a problem to protect life. Ji Wuming, Yin Changsheng and Zhuyo Luosha all burst into the power of belief. At this time, Long Outyen, Kuntu and the corpse with only one arm were killed. And the cunning mysterious beast Xiao cried out, and even rushed to Mengqi and others. With him taking the lead, Wang Tinghao and some powerful creatures also killed them. They are extremely insidious. They know that Mengqi and others have almost run out of oil and the lamp is dry because of the protection of Longchen. Now it is easy to kill them and distract Longchen. In the face of the siege of countless strong men, countless strong people in the distance are still ready to move, just like disgusting vultures. When dragon dust is dead, they will come up to share the food. The eyes of dragon dust become cold in an instant. You forced me, so am not to blame. Dragon dust turned to look at the purple pupil nine-tail fox that by Xiaola sat down. I know, you still have cards to protect my friends, can you do it? Looking at the dragon dust, Zitong Jiawei demon fox spits out two words, don't worry, as it opens its mouth, suddenly 9 huge tails stand up behind it. On each tail, different runes light up, just like 9 pillars of the sky, wrapping up the people. People did not understand what was going on. Dragon dust opened his arms. In the vision behind him, a giant dragon appeared, which covered the sky. The sacred pressure radiated for 9 days, and the clouds and fog broke. The stars were swaying and seemed to fall at any time. The vision behind the dragon dust is huge, covering tens of thousands of miles. However, the huge vision cannot accommodate the golden dragon. From the vision, we can only see its dragon scale, even the whole dragon claw. People have never seen such a huge creature. Seeing from the vision, it is like seeing a dragon in a tube. The more you can't see its appearance, the more awe and fear people feel. Long Xiaojiao, heaven buries all spirits. When Long Chen stopped drinking, the stars in the sky were surging, as if every star in heaven and earth were repeating his voice, such as the God who said what he said and did not dare to disobey him. Then the dragon dust roared up to the sky. The loud voice pierced the way of heaven and went straight into the 9th heaven. The stars in the sky kept shaking, bright and dark. Boom, as the dragon dust roared up to the sky, thousands of roads collapsed, the earth turned into nothingness, and the space with dragon dust as the core collapsed, and a sound wave of death spread rapidly in all directions. Long Outyen, Kundi in Changxing, Ji Wuming, Juyo Luosha, Shizhao, Weng Tihao, Mysterious Animal Repair and others were all shaken out. Other people hit by the sound of death instantly turn into powder, and their body and spirit are destroyed. Some strong people in the distance see this scene and run for their lives immediately. Unfortunately, it's too late. The sound of death covers the whole battlefield in an instant, while the strong men in the battlefield are destroyed in an instant. P.S. Tomorrow, I'll add a watch. I'll finish writing this climax and send it all out. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:17 Kakaka. At the core of the battlefield, the nine-tailed fox with purple pupil bears endless pressure. Its 9 tails shine and bite its teeth. The world is full of cracks. Its purple pupil, flashing with the enchanting purple flame, white music is in the sound of the moment fainted. Purple pupil 9-tail fox evacuated his soul power, but also consumed the power of his pupil, combined with the strength of the two people, finally managed to survive the long roar. When the roar is over, the boundary of the 9-tailed fox in the purple pupil bursts into pieces, and the breath of the 9-tailed fox becomes extremely weak. The figure of the 9-tailed fox in the purple pupil fades away in a moment, and finally disappears slowly. It has no power to stay here any longer and must return to the original world. Bai Shaole's comatose body was caught by Guoran to avoid falling down. At this time, the sky and the earth had disappeared. Under the endless starry sky, the earth has become a bottomless abyss. People stand in the void, as if they are facing a huge mouth, ready to swallow them up. The way of heaven is in complete chaos. The endless runes of heaven's way are smashed, such as the phoenix dancing pear blossom, floating between the heaven and the earth. Although the laws of heaven are broken, they are still there, constantly repairing the wounds of heaven and earth. But on the battlefield, the original overwhelming strong people have disappeared, and will disappear forever. Between heaven and earth, there are only endless fluctuations of the original God. When the fluctuation disappears, they will disappear forever. A long cry, roaring through the sky, killing hundreds of millions of miles, destroying endless creatures. For a time, everyone was shocked, can't believe everything in front of them. The dragon dust is still doing the posture of roaring up to the sky. His long hair is flying and his clothes are fluttering, just like the god of war in the 9 days. In the vision behind him, the rolling dragon gradually subsides, and everything gradually returns to peace. Hands on, suddenly, Li Qi and Song Mingyuan exclaimed, and they tried their best to seal. 2 huge evil spirits appeared behind them, and the 2 evil spirits crazily absorbed the broken fragments of the original god between heaven and earth. With the strike of dragon dust, it is impossible to calculate the strong ones who killed them. Their spirits are not complete, and their value is greatly reduced for their evil spirits. But they can't stand the endless fragments of the original gods. If they are absorbed completely, their evil spirits will become unimaginable. However, they have to race against time, because once these fragments of the Yuan God are integrated into the void, they will be integrated into the way of heaven. They need to absorb as much as possible before the restoration of the heavenly way. In addition to those on the other side of the Dragon Blood Army, there are only Long Ao Tian, Kun Tu, Shi Kai, Ji Wuming in Changxing, Juyo Luosha, Weng Tihao, Mysterious Beast Repair and more than 100 super strong men in the distance. The strong who can survive under the roar of dragon dust, even if they are not as good as Long Outyen and others, are not much different. Everyone is a super strong person and has a terrible card. However, they were very angry and anxious at this time, because all their clansmen were killed by the roar of dragon dust, and all of them were dead except them. Zulong roared for 9 days. I didn't expect that you should inherit this move. However, this move needs the blessing of Dragon Spirit. If you use it once, you can't use the second one in a short time. Let me see what else you have learned. In the face of the supremacy of dragon dust, Kun Tiu was not afraid, but with a sense of war. The golden light surged in his eyes. When his wings spread, a huge shadow appeared behind him. Blessing of ancestral soul, Kunpin blood sacrifice. Under the roar of Kuntu, his whole Bodis wings were shining like the sun. His wings were wide open and golden. His wings were so large that they almost extended into the sea of stars. They were shot down with one blow. Bang! The way of heaven, which was just about to heal, was broken open again by his wings, and the turbulent flow of space was surging, and he went straight to the dragon dust to cut it. Even if I can't use Long Shao Jiotian again, what? Do you need a big deal to deal with you? The dragon dust sneered, his whole body golden scales shine, is also the dragon blood battle body, but at this time the dragon dust, the body has a layer of sacred glory, the breath is noble and holy, cannot be blasphemed. At the same time, the power of dragon dust is more powerful than in the past. I don't know how many times. The blood essence of the strong dragon clan is too terrible. If it wasn't for Long Chen's preparation, it could not be controlled. At this time, his Bodis dragon blood rolling, like gold like blood essence, every drop is like a volcano, containing the power to destroy the sky and the earth. At this time, they seem to be not controlled by the dragon dust. If they do not erupt, the dragon dust will feel like it will explode. A humble Terran, even if he has the blood essence of his ancestors, is not qualified to be proud in front of the great Kunpin clan. Kuntu roared like thunder. The people are humble. Why do you want to be human? Don't you get back to your flat-haired animal? Dragon dust hums coldly. In the face of Kunta's attack of covering the sky, Long Chen smashed his fist, and the strength in his body finally found a vent. All the power gushed out, which made Long Chen's blood boil. Boom! At that moment, the sky turned black and lost all colors. At that moment, time seemed to stop. Time seemed to have passed by in the blink of an eye. It seemed that years had passed. When people saw the light again, they found that Kunta's huge figure was knocked over by the fist of dragon dust. He knocked the void behind him out of a huge black hole. The fury of sucking and pulling force will devour Kuntu. However, Kunta's figure is too big. His wings are open to open up the heaven and earth, breaking away from the black hole. Boom! There are thousands of red clouds in the colorful supreme blood. A big flag appears in the red clouds. The sun and the moon circulate above the flag. The stars in the sky are trembling. The supreme spirit of terror sweeps through the sky, and all the ways are shaking. It was the dragon Aotian who killed him. He also made a big move. This guy even ignited all the supreme blood and exerted the power of the sun-moon 5-element flag to the extreme. The strike made the stars tremble, and the 9 days faded. The flag of the sun, the moon and the 5 elements crossed the void, and even heaven and earth were torn into 2 pieces. Dragon dust, go to death. Long Outyin gnashing his teeth, he thought that the supreme blood would be fully activated. After the strength sword, he could easily kill the dragon dust. However, he did not expect that Long Chen met such a terrible opportunity. His strength sword. He was envious and resentful. He was arrogant and needed to join hands with others. This is a great shame to him. It depends on whether you have that ability. Long Chen sneered. He just made a fist, his body was slightly deviated, and his foot was like a whip. He kicked the flag of the sun and the moon. Boom! The sound of bang was bigger than Kunta's strike, shaking every corner of the world. From the sky, the whole world began to split. Countless native creatures looked at the distance in horror, and they were not sure what had happened. Long Chen kicks Long Outyin away with one foot, and suddenly a sharp sword stabs him from his back. Long Chen snorts coldly, his 5 fingers are like hooks, and runs straight to the sword. However, at the moment when Long Chen's big hand was about to grasp the tip of the sword, a dagger, flashing cold light, darted at the back of Long Chen's brain. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:18, I dare to show my ugliness. Long Chen sneers. Ji Wuming's killing skill is terrible in front of others, but in front of him, it's nothing at all. Especially the combination of ancestral dragon's blood essence and holy aura, JS lifeless space skill is a joke in front of him. But before Long Chen's hand, a small figure rushed out, and the dagger in his hand stabbed Ji Wuming's back brain. Xiaoyu Long Chen is surprised. Dong Minjia's breath is weak at this time. I'm afraid his fighting power is less than 30% of his usual time. He even killed him at this time. Brother Longchen, I want this man's head. This is my agreement with Master. Dong Ming Jade dagger stabbed directly, with the direction, angle and speed, it reached the extreme, forcing Ji to retreat. But you? Long Chen has some worries. Such a war is too unfair. Dong Minjiu has no reason to try his best. He can handle everything. Brother Longchen believes me, this is the test that the master gave me, and I must complete it. Dong Mingyu said. Suddenly the figure disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already thousands of miles away. Her dagger stabbed at the void. Dong Ming Jade seems to be able to see through the void in general, hiding in the void Ji Wuming, a break drink, in the hands of the dagger lightning wave. When sparks splashed, all people did not expect that Dong Minjia's dagger was cut off by Ji Wuming's dagger. Xiaoyu, be careful. And Puta's faith in another world lent him strength. With the power of faith, his strength is many times greater than usual, and his weapons are invincible. Dragon dust reminds away aloud. Boom boom. At this time, Long Outyen, Kuntu, Shikai, Ji Wuming, Yin Changxing, Jiuyo Luosha and Weng Tinglao killed Longchen at the same time, while mysterious beast Xiao and more than 100 super strong men rushed to Mengqi and others shamelessly. A bunch of idiots, do you really think we are soft persimmons? Gu Yang was very angry and killed the first one with a long gun in his hand. Poof, a sword Qi is faster than him. A bipolar supreme Tianjiao is killed by Yu Zifeng with a sword. Even if the person is in a weak state, his sword spirit is still sharp and irresistible. Mengqi, Deng Xianzi, Bai Shishi and others all set out to fight against these strong men again. Gu Yang fights the mysterious beast Xiao. In a vision, 10,000 beasts roar, and the other one roars in the vision. Just a fight, it is a storm-like attack. Even the wounded tigers are not what you rabbits can bully. The dragon blood cross cuts. Guaran roared and broke out with a blow. More than a dozen terror creatures were shocked to fly. At this time, a wind blade ball shot out of the snow and exploded in the crowd. Ho, Xiao Yun once again showed itself. With his big mouth open, a black divine light shot out, followed by the attack of the people, and directly divided the enemy's team into two. This war broke out, although Mengqi and others have been in a weak state, but this time, they occupied the number advantage. Although the other side didn't seem to have experienced any fierce battle, the dragon screamed 9 days in that move, which shocked their spirits and had been injured. On the surface, the momentum was overwhelming. In fact, the attack power had been greatly damaged. Both sides are in a disadvantageous state. At this time, they will fight. As a result, they will be killed by Mengqi and others. This group of strong men suddenly became frightened and immediately scattered. They didn't want to capture the blood essence of the ancestor dragon from Long Chen. They just wanted to kill some people and avenge their clansmen. When they went back, they also had an explanation. Unfortunately, the strength of the dragon blood army is far beyond their imagination. They are originally from different races, not to speak of unity. It can be said that they are a group of mobs, and the war is imminent. The mysterious beast Xiao saw something bad. Although he had the upper hand in the fierce battle with Gaiyang at this time, it was not a matter of 3 moves and 2 styles to defeat Gaiyang. Seeing that other people were running away, if he did not retreat, he would be besieged by the public. With a faint move, he immediately retreated. As a result, he had just retreated, a wall appeared quietly, and the mysterious beast Xiao bumped into the wall. Boom! Mysterious beast Xiao did not expect that a wall would suddenly appear behind him, without any protection. The wall was only 3 feet square, so it was hard and incomparable. He was struck by Venus. You want to go? Save your life. Li Qi and Song Mingyuan drink coldly and kill the mysterious beast with a long stick. At this time, they have absorbed the fragments of the Yuan god between heaven and earth. The evil spirits behind them roar with momentum. Among the whole Dragon Blood Legion, only they are the strongest. Poof, as a result, they just shot out a golden light. It was the mysterious beast Xiao who hit the wall and bounced back. At the moment when he was dazzled, his arrow pierced his head. The mysterious beast Xiao didn't even have time to react, so he was killed by an arrow. The one who took the shot was Emon Yen. Today, I've done nothing. I've made a success of myself. Emon Yen stood on the void. Although his face was as pale as paper, he still made an elegant demeanor of plain as water. Emon Yen opened the boundary, which cost more than anyone else. Moreover, his coffin was an artifact that he warmed up with his soul. When the artifact exploded, his spirit was also severely damaged. At this time, he did not have much strength, but saw a chance to get ahead, and without thinking about it, he directly used only a few strength left to kill it, and completed a not-too-gorgeous performance. Click! Just at this moment, a crisp sound came from the distance, and everyone was surprised. Another dagger of Dong Minjiu was also cut off by Ji Wuming. Killers usually have 2 daggers, one forehand and one backhand. They can switch back and forth, or fight alone. Dong Mingyu's first dagger was cut off, so he tried not to fight with Ji Wuming. However, after dozens of moves, he was forced to block with the dagger. As a result, the dagger was cut again. When the dagger was cut off, a bloodstain appeared on Dong Minjia's bright and clean forehead. If she hit a little slower, Tianlingai would be cut off. It can be said that it is extremely dangerous. If a killer loses his dagger, it means that the snake has lost its fangs. There is only one dead end waiting for you. Ji Wuming's face is gloomy, and the attack is more and more fierce. She has no worries about her future, so she attacks crazily. A killer, relying on external forces, is the biggest sorrow. Dong Minjiu lost his dagger and his face changed slightly. While avoiding Ji's lifeless attack, he hummed coldly. Suddenly, a black divine light stabbed at Ji Wuming's back heart. Ji Wuming instinctively dodges, and the black light directly hits Dong Minjiu. Xiao, next, this is my present for you. Just then, the voice of dragon dust came. Pa? Dong Mingyu reached out and a black dagger appeared in her hand. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:19 When Dang burst out, when Dong Minjiu caught the dagger and chopped with the trend, just above the attack of Ji Wuming. Originally, Ji Wuming's dagger was covered with a layer of milky white shenhui, which is the belief in shenhui. Because of this layer of shenhui, Dong Minjiu's dagger was continuously cut off. However, when Dong Minjiu replaced with the dagger given to her by Longchen, the invincible belief in shenhui was cut by a black dagger. Dong Minjiu's dagger was not afraid of the power of faith. With this dagger, Dong Minjiu's spirit was greatly improved, and his body was moving. He was full of Taoist figures. He launched a stormy attack on Ji Wuming. Dong Minjiu fought with Ji Wuming fiercely. Even if Ji Wuming had the power of faith, he was still killed by Dong Minjiu in a hurry and retreated. Ji Wuming's belief power is terrible, but no matter how terrible the power is, it can't hit the target, and it has no meaning. Even if Ji Wuming controls the power of time and space and is bipolar supreme, he is obviously inferior to Dong Minjiu in body method and speed. He has the power of faith, but he can't play it. He is forced to vomit blood by Dong Minjiu. Boom boom. On the other side, Long Outyen, Kuntu, Shikai, In Chongxing, Juyo Luosha and Weng Tianweio are still persistently besieging Longchen. One by one, they are armed with magic weapons, and they are full of energy. Their soul is burning, their blood is burning, their faith is blessing, and their ancestors are blessing. All kinds of desperate means have been used. Now it is not a matter of face or dragon blood. But today's World War I, if they are defeated, the blow to them is too great. If so many people besiege Longchen and all fail, their Taoist heart will be seriously frustrated. When the next time they cross the road, they will probably have a heart demon, and even the dragon dust will be copied by the heavenly way and appear in their natural calamities. They will probably die under the natural calamity. With the fierce battle, the strength of Long Outyin and Kuntu is increasing wildly. It seems that their strength will never be exhausted. They seem to be using the power of dragon dust to temper themselves and let them better master their own power. Shi Tsai, Yin Changxing, Jiuyou Luosha and Weng Tianyao have also made great sacrifices. In particular, Weng Tianyao's Thunder Pagoda, which is full of noise, is constantly interfering with Longchen and wants to incorporate it into the pagoda at any time. Villain, look at the sword. Suddenly, Lei Linger appears and kills Weng Ti. The thundering blade in his hand stabs Weng Tianyao fiercely. Seeing the arrival of Lei Linger, Weng Tianyao was surprised and pleased. Seeing a sword stabbing, Weng Tianyao laughed. "It's you who are waiting." The thunder method is taking. Lei Linger exclaimed. The thunder blade in his hand was not controlled by it, but broke away from her control and flew to Weng Tianyao. With Weng Tianyao's sword in his hand, the endless thunder is surging, and even the thunder tower behind him also roars, and the two artifacts resonate. The thunder between heaven and earth and the violent power make Weng Tianyao's breath soar to the extreme in an instant. It turns out that the crazy blade and the ancient pagoda are a set of thunderbolt artifact. One attack and one defense complement each other. Once the two artifacts are sacrificed at the same time, the power of thunder can be brought into full play. "Go to death." At this time, Weng Tianyao roared, holding a crazy blade, carrying the thunder tower on his back. With one sword, the thunder and lightning were surging. Long Outyin, Kuntu, Shi Kai, Yin Changxing, Jiuyou Luosha and others were forced to retreat in a hurry by the force of his terrible thunder. Boom! Crazy blade cut, thunder swept all over the sky, harsh sound explosion, so that heaven and earth shudder. Bang! With one blow, Long Chen shook his body and took 3 steps backward. With each step back, the void collapsed. "Long Chen, are you still arrogant? This is my real strength." That Weng Tianyao looks up and laughs. His crazy blade was taken away, and he was suffocating to death. Without the power of thunder, he could not play. Although the thunder tower is powerful, it is not an attack artifact, but a defensive artifact. It is too much to lose by using it to fight. Therefore, in the previous battles, he was extremely subdued. Now he can't restrain his inner fury. The thunder at his feet floats like a streamer toward the dragon dust. He doesn't cooperate with others at all. He seems to be fighting alone with Long Chen. In the face of Weng Tao, who was so arrogant, Long Chen opened his hands slowly and made a gesture of waving. Everyone didn't understand what Long Chen was going to do. Weng Tianyao grinned grimly. The thunder rune on his sword echoed with the thunder behind him. His strength was rising rapidly, and the 2 thunder warriors became more and more bright. All of a sudden, unexpected things happened. Weng Tianyao's 2 thunderbolt magic weapons lit up to the extreme and suddenly disappeared. What? Weng Tianyao was suddenly dumbfounded. He was rushing towards the dragon dust. He was full of confidence. Suddenly he was unarmed and panicked. However, he was flustered, and Long Chen was not flustered. His big mouth, which had been ready for a long time, was severely slapped on Weng Tianyao's face. Weng Tianyao, like a meteor, flew out in a long arc of thunder. Mo Nian and others are surprised and funny. Looking at this picture, they show a strange expression. This turning point is too sudden. How arrogant and despotic was Weng Tianyao just now? In the twinkling of an eye, so embarrassed to be pumped away, this visual impact is too big. Weng Tianyao, you are still arrogant. This is my real strength. Let's die. To everyone's surprise, Lei Linger holds the thunder blade, and the thunder tower appears behind her. Lei Linger is elated and says the big words of Weng Tianyao just now and kills Weng Tianyao. Bang! Weng Tianyao was cut by Lei Linger with a sword, and his blood gushed wildly, and he flew out in his hair. Bitches! Weng Tianyao roared like crazy. You are a slut. If you get caught in the trick, you will scold. You are too cheap and stupid. Do you think I will return the crazy blade to you so easily? You are so naive. I'm going to seduce his partner. Let's get out of the dark and realize, you can't Lei Linger Jiao cheered, then killed Wang Tiao with a crazy blade. Wang Tiao lost his weapon and was killed repeatedly. He tried to recapture the magic weapon through secret arts. However, the crazy blade and the ancient pagoda were in the hands of Lei Linger, just like they didn't know him. They let him use all kinds of methods, but ignored him. Wang Tiao roared and roared, but there was no way. Lei Linger killed Wang Tiao. He wanted to escape, but he lost 2 peerless warriors. He was still trying to recapture them. On the other side, without Wang Tiao, Long Outyin, Kuntu, Shikai, Yin Changxing and Jiuyou Luosha are able to move more smoothly and fight against Longchen crazily. Boom! Suddenly, the wings behind the corpse plague burst open, and the endless black blood amulets turned into hundreds of millions of corpses, and insects swarmed into the body of the corpse plague, and the body of the corpse plague crackled. Ha ha! It's finished finally. Although I lost my wings, I really wake up the magic power of this move, dragon dust. Wake up. Corpse Tsai looked up to the sky and laughed. His archaic breath erupted like a volcano. His plentiful corpse was withered in an instant. Then his dry big hand grabbed at the dragon dust. In the center of his claw, there was a terrible rune, such as the devil's eyes and the terrible will to die, which locked the dragon dust in a moment. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 39:20 In the palm of the corpse, a black sword shot out, which is the strength of corpse Zeos' life. This blow almost drained all the energy in the corpse's body, and it was also the strongest blow that he could stimulate at present. The black sword shot straight to the dragon dust, which contained the endless spirit of death. Carving insect skills, the dragon dust sneered and clapped it down. The golden dragon pattern on the palm lit up, and the sacred glory stirred up like a mirror. Bo! When the sharp sword hit the palm of Long Chen, there was a strange sound, and the black sword actually refracted out and flew straight to Yin Changxing. Bang! Yin Changxing never thought that the attack of corpse plague was not a physical attack, but could be refracted out, unable to dodge, and was stabbed in the chest by the black sword. The terrible blade not only pierced his body, but also penetrated with the vision behind him. At the moment when the body and vision were pierced, it was dark and decadent, with the black air of endless curse. Yin Changxing immediately gave out a shrill scream. His body was rotting rapidly, and the vision behind him collapsed rapidly. In the harsh scream, Yin Changxing held his head in his hands. Within a breath, his flesh and blood were completely eroded, and even his bones showed black spots, which continued to rot. What a terrible curse! Fortunately, I have divine power, or it will be finished. Seeing that Yin Changxing was so miserable, Long Chen also took a breath of cold air. Because he has the holy power of the ancestor dragon, he is not afraid of this dark curse. Instead, he gives it to Yin Changxing. Originally, he thought that it would only cause a little trouble to Yin Changxing, but he did not expect such terrible consequences. Bang! Suddenly, Yin Changxing's original spirit broke out, and he abandoned his bones. But even so, there were still maggot-like spots on his yuan shin. The spots spread rapidly and more. Yin Changxing ignited the fire of his life and could not get rid of it. He cried in pain, "Asshole corpse plague, untie the curse for me quickly." Boom! Unfortunately, before she had a chance to answer him, she was beaten up by Long Chen. Originally, she intended to put all his eggs in one basket. If he failed, he would become benevolent. After one strike, he was absolutely weak. After Long Chen's fist, his whole body was shattered. The Yuan god of corpse plague was extremely weak, but he still wanted to escape. As long as he was immortal, he could find the corpse parasite, and he could come back at any time. As a result, he was swallowed by 2 long-waiting spirits, Li Qi and Song Mingyuan. They knew that once someone died, the Yuan god was their food, and they had been waiting quietly. The original god of corpse plague was engulfed by evil spirits, but Yin Changxing's 2 evil spirits were also afraid of swallowing them. The curse was too terrible. Dragon dust, I will not let you go as a ghost. Bang, Yin Changxing could not bear the pain and had no hope of rescue, so he exploded. Idiot, the one who killed you is the corpse plague, has nothing to do with Laozi? Fortunately, Lao Tzu is brave enough to frighten who? Long Chen disdains tunnel. No one expected that Yin Changxing was killed by corpse plague, who exhausted all his strength and put all his eggs in one basket, but was killed by Long Chen. Today, only 3 people, Long Outyen, Kuntu and Jiuyou Luocha, are left to attack Long Chen. Once they die, the world seems to be much cleaner. Standing on the void, Long Outyen, Kuntu and Jiuyou Luocha face Long Chen from 3 different angles. They do not immediately hand, but coldly look at Long Chen. The 3 of you, if you escape in 3 different directions, I admit that I can only kill one of you at present. Why don't you try and run separately and see who I choose first? Long Chen stands with his hands down, light tunnel. Guoran and others recovered in the distance and watched the battlefield. Seeing that dragon dust had solved the 2 super strong men, they couldn't help crying out with excitement. Guess who the boss will kill if they all run away? Guoran couldn't help being curious. Guess what? None of them will escape. Mo Nian shakes his head. How? The Jiuyou Luocha, obviously, has begun to gasp. Among the 3, she is the weakest. I think she is the first to run by Xiaolido. At this time, by Xiaola and Menqi's help, the spirit of the deficit has been restored to a certain extent, although the face is still pale, but it has no big problem. At this time, Mingqi is holding Bai Shishi's hand. Bai Shishir has just released a series of big moves. Her soul is in a great deficit. However, she has a strong nature, so she can't be seen by others. Mingqi began to grasp her hand, her body slightly trembled, but see Mingqi gentle smile, white poetry pretty face slightly red, finally accepted Mingqi to help her heal. While Mingqi is healing Bai Shishir, the Dancian gives Bai Shishir a pill. Bai Shishir says thanks and swallows the pill. Her body immediately recovers as if she is bathed in the sun. I'm sorry, Bai Shishir looked at Dan Xianzi with a coy look on her pretty face. Deng Xianzi was stunned and didn't know why Bai Shishir apologized to her. But Mingqi laughed. We all had a complete apple. After we separated part of the people, we had less in our hands and would be a little sad. But when others share a part of her with you, you will find that the apple is not the original apple, but its taste is sweeter than before. On the way to practice, there are many dangers and frightening step by step. Even the most powerful people cannot guarantee that they will never fall. What we can do is to walk and cherish them. Will sisters join hands in the future? Mingqi looks at Bai Shishir. In her beautiful eyes, with sincerity, Bai Shishi's face is even redder. Mingqi is like a big sister with gentle wisdom. Everything can't be concealed from her, but even if she sees through, it won't make people feel panic, but it makes people very down to earth. Bai Shishir didn't dare to look at Mingqi and nodded. With her nod, some things had been thoroughly clarified. At the same time, it was also tantamount to giving up the inner contradiction and struggle and putting down the arrogant face. At this time, Bai Shishir finally understood why her mother was so excellent that she would be willing to serve her husband with others. Sometimes love is so domineering that she allows you to be so strong. In front of her, you can't resist and can only be appointed obediently. Sister, tell me quietly this guy, is there anyone else? Mingqi said in a low voice. Others? Bai's poems were stunned. Mingqi laughed. She knew the result from Bai Shishi's reaction. Looking at the arrogant and domineering figure in the distance, Mingqi's face showed a look of relief. Fortunately, this guy knows how to restrain, otherwise the family will really be unable to put it down. At this time, Guoran and others had begun to bet. Mo Nian said that none of them could run, while Guoran and others thought that Jiuyou Luosha was running out of oil and the lamp was running out. Just as the 2 sides were fighting with each other, and no one said that they were not satisfied with each other, Kuntu on the battlefield opened his mouth and said to Jiuyou Luocha, "Go away, don't waste time here, I'll do my best, and don't be killed by me carelessly." When he finished the sentence, he put out the big words on his forehead. Boom! When the rune was torn off, the turbulent qi and blood broke out in an instant. and the violent vigorous wind swept the sky. At that moment, the faces of Guoran and others changed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3921. It's a seal. He has sealed his own power. Guoran's mouth was so wide that he couldn't believe his eyes. The earth-shaking battle before was finished with a seal. That is to say, Kunta didn't do his best at all. He'll tell you Kuntu and Long Outyin can't even breathe. Everyone hasn't really come up with their cards. You're still stubborn with me. Emon Yen did not have any shock color, as if everything was expected. We're not talking about Kuntu and Long Outyin. We bet that Juyo Luosha is the weakest among the three. If she doesn't run, she will die. Guoran still insists on his inference. Cut, I'm not talking about you. In terms of observation, you are obviously young. Let me tell you. Didn't you notice a detail? Whether the giant was killed, or Corpse and Yin Changsheng were killed, did these three people have no mood swings at all? And Wang Tingyao? Emon Yen suddenly remembered that Wang Tingyao had disappeared. People are also surprised. Wang Tingyao is fighting with Lei Linger. How suddenly there is no voice? People looked around in a hurry and saw an ancient thunder tower in the distance, standing between heaven and earth. Lei Linger was sitting on the tower with his hands imprinted, as if drawing strength from the tower. In the thunder tower, Wang Tingyao is struggling madly. He is actually taken into Leda by Lei Linger. The original rune in his body is being stripped away. It is obvious that what Lei Linger is extracting is his original rune. Lei Linger takes a fancy to Wang Tinyao's original rune and wants to take it out for her own. In this way, by integrating this rune, she will have a sense of human race, and human beings are the spirits of all things, and she will be more intelligent. Looking at Wang Tingyao in the ancient pagoda, people's hatred for him is not so strong, but with a touch of sympathy. The two magic weapons were taken away by Lei Linger. Now he has to take his original rune. Once the original rune is taken away, he will no longer be a supreme genius. Now he is trapped in the Thunder Tower, struggling with despair on his face. It is estimated that even he himself knows what fate he is. Why, where did I say that? Emon Yen suddenly patted his forehead and turned off the topic, but he forgot the original topic. You said that we didn't notice a detail, so many people died, 3 people's mood swings, no change. Bai Xiaola reminded him that he listened very seriously. Yes, that's the detail. Didn't you see it? Whether it is Kuntu or Long Outyin, there is indifference in the eyes. Both of them are very powerful guys, which is very normal, but Jiao Luosha is obviously weaker than them, but she is always like this. Don't you think it's strange? Emon Yindao. It's strange that she's not strong enough. Why don't she run and wait for what? By Xiaolido. The weak performance does not mean that the real strength is weak. For example, you are weak enough on the surface, but to tell the truth, in fact, you are also weak. Emon Yen looks at Bai Xiaolido. Bai Xiaola. Of course, even if you are weak, you can summon the 9-tailed fox with purple pupil. It's a super terrifying guy. If you are not involved before the dragon dust comes out, it is enough to sweep the whole battlefield. Here can surpass its existence, not more than the number of hands. Even so, when the dragon dust roars, it protects us with its own strength and is not hurt in the core area. We all can see how strong the dragon dust bears. I ask you, are you weak or strong? Emon Yen asked. You mean she can? Bai Xiaola was shocked. Emon Yen shook his head and said, I only know that she must have terrorist means, but what are the specific means, but I don't know. Now the 3 of them are all in the same mentality. They either wait for the people around them to die or wait for the people around them to run. The last one of them will play the strongest card against Zhan Longchen and kill him. These guys are arrogant and tight. You can see that they are pulling their noses to see people. Even now, they are still fearless and want to defeat him alone. After Emon Yang's analysis, everyone's mind is awe-inspiring. Emon Yen's mind is really meticulous and the analysis is clear. Guoran and others still think too simple. If Emon Yen said that, the 3 people would be too terrible. At this time, Kuntu untied the seal, his breath soared wildly, and his chi and blood soared to the sky. The violent force of chi and blood made the world tremble and roar, and the whole world seemed to be crushed and exploded. Even if they are far enough away, they can still feel the terrible oppressive force. It is hard for them to imagine how the power of one's chi and blood can be strong enough to suppress the way of heaven. Don't underestimate the enemy and speed up the recovery. These three guys are too terrible. Don't have any accidents. Yu Zifeng was serious. The crowd nodded. Before, they took an absolute defensive posture and resisted the attack of hundreds of millions of powerful people, which led to too much consumption. Now they can't help at all. But even if he can't help, he can't hold back. If something happens in a while, someone will attack them, and Long Chen will be distracted to save them in the face of three powerful enemies. Menqi, Deng Xianzi, Bai Shishi, Yuexiaqian, Xiaoyun and Xiaoxue are together. Menqi opens the boundary of the soul road and helps them recover quickly. Unfortunately, there is no wood medical soldier here, otherwise there is no need for Menqi. At the same time, people also felt a little strange. The number of dragon blood soldiers arrived at more than 2,700, which was too small. Moreover, many expectant faces have not appeared, such as Chu Yao, Lu Ruyan, Tang Weiner, Yi Zhiqiu, Zian and Amon. If they come to the 3,000 world, they will surely find it right here. There are too many doubts in people's hearts, but now there is no time to analyze these, and they try their best to recover. Damn it, if it's in full swing, the Kuntu must be mine. I want to let the whole world see the spectacular scene of my Mo Nian shooting at Kunping. Mo Nian looks at Kuntu's chi and blood soaring to the sky and suppresses Wandao. He is also a super strong man, but for the sake of dragon dust, he has no chance to display it today. Don't waste your time. Let's break out all your strength. If it wasn't for an agreement with an elder that I can't use my skills, he'll never allow you to live to this day by virtue of the flesh and magic power of the dragon clan. The elder said that if I want to beat you on your strongest card, I have been giving you time to accumulate strength. Now it should be almost. If you don't do it again, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. In the face of Kuntu's unsealing, Long Chen looked indifferent, as if everything was expected, and Long Chen's words also immediately angered the three people. Dragon Dust, you are too crazy. Today, let you see the real cards of the Shura clan. Even if I die, I will pull you. Juyo Lucha suddenly looks ferocious, a roar, the whole body skin rupture, blood gushed out of the body. The great god of Shura, please listen to your posterity's call. The fierce devil of Abi Hell will help me to kill the alien who blasphemed the god of Shura. At this time, Juyo Luosha was covered with blood and looked ferocious as a ghost. With her call, the void behind her suddenly burst into pieces, and a big mouthful of tusks swallowed Juyo Luosha. Then a creature with chains and sides in his hand and a blue flame all over his body and a cold breath appeared. As soon as this creature appeared, the breath of the whole world changed, and people's souls became cold, as if falling into hell in an instant. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3922. That creature, the body is translucent color, you can see the skeleton in it. In its chest, the figure of Juyo Luosha is awe-inspiring among them. However, at this time, Juyo Luosha, with flames flowing all over her body, kept burning, and her power of life was being devoured by that creature. It's cruel to sacrifice myself. Mo Nian and others were shocked and felt a fit of scalp numbness. Although Mo Nyang had a premonition that there must be a terrible card in Juyo Luocha, she did not expect that she sacrificed herself to kill Longchen. Even if Longchen died, she would not live. This is too cruel. Dragon Dust, even if I die, I will pull you on the road together to safeguard the sacred dignity of the Shura people. Juyo Luocha roars in the body of the creature. Suddenly, the sky and the earth trembled, and a ripple slowly tightened, enveloping the dragon dust, giving no time for the dragon dust to react. The ripple on the top of the dragon dust left a dark red halo. When the aperture appeared, The creature holding the sickle opened his eyes. At that moment, the terrible will of death enveloped the dragon dust. Dragon dust, you have been locked in by the evil spirit of Abai hell. He will chase you to the ends of the earth. After you die, it will take away your soul. In hell, you will reincarnate infinitely. You can't live or die. You can make atonement in the endless death. The voice of Joyo Luosha is as gloomy as a ghost. Oh hell? I'm so scared. Long Chun pretended to be very scared, and then disdained to say, it's like who hasn't been to hell. Is it great? This call of you seems to be Xia Gohong's big brother. Let me be careful. He told me not to push you too hard. In fact, I didn't force you very much. I can't blame you for being too childish. Don't be wordy. Accept the punishment from hell. Great Shura, you can't blaspheme. Joyo Luosha roared. After the roar, her whole person disappeared. All her strength, together with her life, was integrated into this living creature. From then on, there was no Joyo Luosha in heaven and earth. At the moment of her disappearance, the evil spirit from the abyss suddenly opened its mouth, showed its fangs like 1,000 needle tips, and showed a ferocious smile to the dragon dust. The sickle in his hand was cut off like lightning, and the sickle brought up the roaring vigorous wind, which was like the cry of thousands of fierce ghosts, and it attracted the soul and soul. In the Dragon Blood Legion, some people with weak soul power sent out a scream. The sound pierced into the ears, like hundreds of millions of maggots gnawing at the soul, which was extremely painful, just like torture. Even with the perseverance of the Dragon Blood soldiers, they could not help but scream. Heaven soul boundary. As soon as Meng Qi's face changed, her jade hand continued to seal, which opened a soul boundary. However, even so, the voice could not be completely blocked, but the damage was greatly reduced after the barrier was blocked. People were shocked. They found that many people's ears, there is blood overflow, this evil spirit from the abyss, too terrible. Its sickle is a terrifying soul soldier, with hundreds of millions of wronged souls entwined with endless resentment. Is it really from the abyss? Meng Qi was shocked. Hell is a place where everyone is afraid. It is said that it is a concentration camp of evil. After the death of the most ferocious creatures in 9 days and 10 places, they will gather in hell to suffer. But if the evil spirit is strong enough to kill the manager, he will break away from the sea of suffering and become the master. He will turn from the spirit to the entity, and will not be tortured, but torture others. The Abai hell, also known as the endless hell, is also the most bitter and ferocious hell in hell. The torture inside is endless and endless. If you can get out of the abyss hell, you will be promoted to a fierce devil. Ferocious demons are the leaders in the abyss hell. They are the most ferocious creatures in life. After death, they are tortured and accumulate endless resentment and killing intention. After they become leaders, they are like machines, killing those evil spirits to release their resentment, and they enjoy it endlessly. However, even fierce demons have a great sense of crisis, because fierce demons also compete with each other and kill each other. They practice by killing. However, if a stronger evil spirit is born in the area under their jurisdiction, they will try their best to crush and prevent it from growing. If you let it grow up, it will become another evil devil. Once the evil devil is born, it will kill the evil devil that suppresses itself at the first time. Therefore, the evil demons in hell are all real killing machines. Excuse me, this evil demon from the abyss is not a general evil spirit. Mo Nian's face changed. What do you say? Asked the crowd. When I was robbing the tomb, I dug through the passage of hell and met the evil devil of hell. At that time, I fought a big war, and I killed it with all my strength and took his bone cleaver. That war was one of the most difficult battles in my life. The fierce devil I met should be the skinning evil devil in the skinning hell. He has a white flame, while the flame of the dragon dust encounter is blue. I'm afraid the rank is higher than that I met at that time. Mo Nian's face is serious. Isn't the boss in danger? People were shocked. It should be nothing. The dragon dust has the sacred glory of the ancestor dragon, which can resist the erosion of the power of hell. And their own soul power is strong, will not be affected. Be careful. All of a sudden Mo read a scream, scared the hearts of the people were raised to the throat. It turns out that Long Chen has been avoiding the sickle of the evil devil. After hiding for several times, he suddenly stops drinking and blows. He is so golden that he has to fight with the sickle of the evil devil. Don't break that sickle. Im of great use. Mo Nian raised his voice and yelled. To your uncle. Guoran and others can't help but scold. Just now Mo Nian's word of caution scared them to death. This curve was too hasty and almost overturned. Boom! When Long Chen hits the other party's sickle with one blow, the golden divine light and blue flame soar, and the heaven and earth become a world of gold and blue, with a clear distinction between water and fire. Huge power will tear the sky curtain. The whole world seems to be divided into two. Boom boom. When the two fists of Longchen were waved, his chi and blood soared to the sky. In the vision, the giant dragon rolled and faintly heard the sound of dragon whistling. His chi and blood were ignited. At this time, the dragon dust also began to burst out with all his strength, no longer escaping, and fighting with the evil spirits. Hello, no kidding. I really want that sickle to be useful. Don't break it. See dragon dust ignore oneself, Mo Nyang shout away. Pa! All of a sudden, Long Chen grabbed the huge scythe and kicked the demon's arm with one foot. Let me go www. Ninefold. Com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3923 In the vision behind the dragon dust, the golden light bloomed rapidly, just like a round of sun, and the sacred glory broke out, and nothing could be seen between heaven and earth. Boom! With a bang, when people's sight recovers, the evil spirit demon has been kicked by the dragon dust, and the sickle with blue flame in its hands has arrived in the hands of dragon dust. Who, with a big wave of Long Chen's hand, the sickle turned into a streamer, and instantly came to Mo Nian's body. Pa! Mo Nian stretched out his hand and grasped the sickle, and his face appeared ecstatic. Ha ha, thank you very much. What do you want this for? Hey, I don't understand. With this thing and other camouflage, I can go to hell to fool around. Maybe there are big tombs in hell. Mo Nyang, with a smile, put the sickle away with pride. At the moment when Mo Nian put away the sickle, the evil spirit who lost the sickle, like a hook, ran straight to the dragon dust. Why doesn't it attack you? Guoran said strangely. You know, evil spirits should first take back their weapons. It's not so intelligent. Besides, it's called back. Before Jiuyou Luosha's death, it locked the curse ring on dragon dust. It can only attack dragon dust, not others. Mo Nian explained. Just as the dragon dust just broke out, the vision behind him began to tremble ceaselessly. His strength began to climb uncontrollably, and there were signs that he was gradually out of control. All of a sudden, a thunder light cut down from the sky, and the heaven and earth looked like a picture scroll and was split into a crack. Be careful, be careful. It's just that I waited for others to enlarge their moves in the past. Today, let me release them first. Anyway, I've done what I promised, and I've given you the time. But you've always wanted to keep it, and I can't help it. Long Chen looked at his hands and felt the surging power in his body. For example, the dam that was breaking its bank was about to lose control and suddenly went cold. Card is another lightning, tearing the sky. The space cracks made by the previous lightning have not healed, and another lightning cross. Boom! The dragon scales on the dragon dust began to vibrate. On each dragon scale, there were golden runes in circulation, as if the golden sun were slowly lighting up, and the violent power was slowly rising, making the space roar. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud noise, as if the dam with a lot of holes collapsed, accumulated hundreds of millions of years of flood, poured out, such as wild horses running out of control, thousands of animals galloping, releasing their strength to the full. Click, click, click. The world is like a painting scroll, which has been scratched by a sharp blade and broken. There are space faults and time disorder. This is a frightening force. It is a power that can really destroy the world. At that moment, Long Outyen and Kuntu finally changed color, their eyes showed a color of panic, they no longer wait, have roared. Boom, Kuntu's wings spread across the sky, the stars in the sky flow on his wings, and the energy in the universe is being extracted by him. The vision behind Long Outyen has also changed. At the same time, he drives the power of colorful supreme blood and purple blood. The two blood veins are interwoven and roaring. His left hand sun moon heaven and earth flag, his right hand blood-colored spear, and two peerless magic soldiers are driven by the two blood veins. When the two peerless warriors are driven, the void behind the dragon Outyen is torn. Under the violent force, the space can't hold him. Run away, Emo Nyen and others are behind Long Outyen. The heaven and earth are torn like a scroll. The cracks are facing them. If they don't leave, they will be torn apart together. Without their hands, Xiao Yun unfolded his body, his wings trembled, and he took everyone to avoid the cracks and rushed to the distance. Boom! Both Long Outyen and Kuntu are accumulating strength. The heaven and earth have begun to collapse and the mountains are broken. The boulders on the earth begin to float to the sky. In the void, all kinds of road runes seem to have lost their traction power and become chaotic and turbulent. The creatures of the 3,000 worlds were terrified. They didn't know what was going on. They watched in horror as the void was torn apart and the cracks grew bigger and bigger, covering the whole sky. From those black cracks, they can see that the blade of endless terror space is flowing, just like the devil's mouth, grinning at them grimly, as if they will swallow them at any time, and fear covers everyone's heart. In the core area of the battlefield, the whole body of dragon dust glows, and the breath gushes. The fierce force makes the dragon dust roar up to the sky, with a touch of pain in the howl, as if the body is about to burst. Kunpeng splits the sky, Kuntu roars, covering the sky and wings like a sharp blade. He cuts off from the endless sky, with a touch of stars hanging on his wings. At the moment of cutting off, all the stars are floating. Double blood covers heaven and earth. The two magic weapons of Long Outyen stab down at the same time. He transferred the power of the colorful supreme blood and purple blood to the extreme. The blood covered the sky, and the power of all the heavenly ways was absorbed by him in an instant. Two people's attack. One is the strongest physical strength, the other is the strongest blood force. Two people's strength erupted at the same time, power swallow 9 days. Dragon swings its tail in the face of two people's attacks. Long Chen separated his hands and held a formula, with his left foot as the axis and his right foot throwing out, spinning like a whirlwind to make a whirlwind kick. At the moment of the dragon dust swinging his feet, the vision behind the dragon dust suddenly disappeared, and a dragon tail of tens of thousands of miles emerged, waving along the legs of dragon dust, just like a whip. The golden dragon tail is carrying the piercing sonic boom and pulls out fiercely. The three people's attacks collide together. Boom! The void exploded, and thousands of roads collapsed. The power of order between heaven and earth was devastated. The earth split in an instant, and the whole world was divided into two, and the distance was getting farther and farther. Boom! After the heaven and earth were torn apart, the violent vigorous wind began to spread in all directions. The roar made people's souls go out of the body. Sealing heaven and locking earth, starting magic shield, golden shield. Meng Qi Yu Xiao Qian by Shishir, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Xiao Yun, Xiao Shui, etc. who are good at defense, have offered great moves, and they are ready for it. Mo Nian also offered a coffin and wrapped the people in it. As a result, they just finished the arrangement, which was a loud noise. Mo Nian's coffin was broken by the terrible gang wind, and people were like cotton in the wind, which were blown away. What they had done was awesome defense. They were still destroyed by an instant, and finally, the coffin of the ink was enough to give power to the people. Although they were blown away, they were not hurt. When the public stabilized their bodies, they were shocked to find that the whole world had changed. In the center of the battlefield, there was a dark gap, which divided the world into two parts. It seems that the endless gap between heaven and earth, as if in pain. Looking at Long Outyen and Kuntu, they are covered with blood, and their bodies are almost smashed by the kick of dragon dust. the vision behind them is dim. However, the fierce devil from the abyss in hell has disappeared completely. It is unable to resist this attack and turn into nothingness. The dragon dust is not much better. His whole body is full of golden blood, and his face is a little pale. This attack is a real-world destroying strike. All three of them have made the strongest moves. I have learned 3 moves of the Dragon Clan. The first move is the dragon's 9 days. The second is the dragon swinging its tail. Now the third move is coming. Long Chun took a deep breath, and suddenly the vision appeared again. His hands were claw-shaped. Above the 9 days, 2 dragon claws emerged. The dragon claws appeared, and the stars trembled. In a moment, they locked Long Outyin and Kunt. Cloud Dragon's Claw, boom! The dragon claw hits down, and the star river is broken down. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3924, Kunping Jueming's Stab, Kun Tu roared. He gave up the human form, showed the body, waved his wings, and went straight to the dragon claw. On the wings and head of Kunping, there is a divine light shining, forming a sharp arrow. With endless tragic will, it collides with the sharp claws of dragon dust, which means that if you fail, you will become benevolent. Kunta tried his best. He was extremely angry. As an ancestor Kuan, he killed all the way to the fairyland from the next one. He experienced thousands of risks, suffered thousands of robberies, pushed all the way, and was invincible. He was proud. If he is proud, how can he be willing to lose to Long Qin? Long Qin is a human race. Even if he has the power of Zulong, he is not Zulong. Kunta cannot accept this fact. At this time, he broke out with all his strength, without any reservation. He ignited all his energy and spirit, and wanted to die with the dragon dust. Now it is as crazy as Juyo Luocha at that time. Kunta did not care about his own life at this time. Even if he died, he would protect Kunpeng's dignity and go on the road with Long Chen. Boom! With a bang, Kunta smashed one of the sky-covering dragon claws, but the other claw of Long Chen was severely slapped on Kuntu. A startling explosion. The huge Kunpeng was photographed flying, blood splashed, precious Kunpeng blood spilled into the sky. At this time, Long Aoshan's attack came again, but different from Kuntu, an old figure appeared behind him. The desolate breath poured into his body. At this time, Long Outyin seemed to have completely changed. Dragon dust, I see what strength you have to stop my attack. Seeing Long Chen's attack and being caught by Kuntu, the dragon dust is out of breath, and his chi and blood are seriously insufficient. Long Outyin immediately seizes this opportunity and stabs them with all their strength. This attack is even more terrifying than the one just now. Obviously, Long Outyin attacks in mind, deliberately let Kunta desperate, but he retains the strongest card. I promised that elder to defeat Kunta only with physical strength, but I didn't say that I must use physical strength to you. In the face of the rushing dragon Outyin, Long Chen directly offered an ancient bronze tripod, which was the mysterious ancient tripod that Long Chen got in the heaven burial place. Dragon Outyin roared and came. Suddenly he saw the ancient tripod in front of him. His eyes almost protruded. He even forgot the dragon dust and the terrible treasure. It was too late to escape. Boom! His Sun-Moon 5-element flag and blood-colored spear, carrying the supreme power of the mysterious strong man in the vision behind him, stabbed the ancient tripod fiercely. With a bang, the 5-element flag and the blood-colored spear were smashed. The power of terror reflected back, directly pierced the vision behind Long Outyin. The blood of Long Outyin spurted wildly, his arms were shattered, and people were shocked to death in an instant. Poof! Just as the vision of Long Outyin was shattered, in a mysterious palace, an old man with white beard and white eyebrows gushed out blood. The old man is the old man in the vision behind Long Outyin. At this time, he looks surprised and angry and roars, "Who dares to move Outyin? I will kill your family and breed." Unfortunately, Long Chen couldn't hear the old man's roar. Even if he did, Longchen didn't care. The bronze tripod can't be controlled by the dragon dust. Now we can only release it or take it back, but this is enough. We can directly lay down the dragon pride heaven pit. After putting up the bronze tripod, Longchen came to Kuntu with Ming Hongdao in his hand. At this time, Kuntu was almost fragmented by the dragon claws. However, it has to be said that the flesh of Kunping people is too terrible. It is the first time for Longchen to see such a terrible body. Dragon dust can control the blood essence of Zulong now, but the magic power of Zulong is not what he can control. He can't send it back. Moreover, he has to bear too much load to drive Zulong's magic power. If he can't make it, he will be injured. At first, the strong man of the dragon clan asked him to absorb only 3 runes, but he was still a little unconvinced. Now he thinks that he can't master the other 2 Zulong magic powers except the dragon Xiaojiutian. It's meaningless to learn so much, and time is not allowed. Dragon dust now is to understand what is human outside, heaven and earth. Dragon can stand on the top of the beast, is absolutely not accidental. The Kunping people, who can keep pace with the dragon people, also have their own real skills. Today, Longchen is an eye-opener. If you lose, he'll send you on the road. Longchen looks at Kuntu and slowly raises Minghong's sword. The enemy is the enemy. Longchen doesn't want to be a bad man and let others live. When Kuntu attacks the dragon blood army, he doesn't want to let others live. Don't kill him. All of a sudden, the voice of a strong dragon clan comes into his mind. What? Dragon Dustalang, you didn't say before, want me to kick him to death? Tear off his wings and refine them into thunderbolt wings. You will have the speed of Kunping, the strong of the dragon race. Longchen with the speed of Kunping? All of a sudden, my heart throbbed, but on second thought, what does it have to do with not killing him? If you don't kill him, he will give birth to new Kunping wings, which are likely to become mutant wings. When the time comes, you will cut down the wings and refine them into thunderbolt wings. The 4 wings will not only have their speed, but also control the magic power of the Kunping clan. The strongest place of the Kunping clan lies in their wings. If it wasn't for their speed, once we ran away, we would have killed them. Come on, don't delay your time. I'll do whatever I say, and I'll hurt you. Speaking of the later, the strong dragon people were impatient. Hishi, with the strength of his arms, Longchen tore Kuntu's wings from his huge body. Kuntu, who was in a semi-comatose state, was suddenly awakened by pain and howled. "I'll go. It's so loud that you can't die." The 2 wings cover the sky and are collected into the star space by the dragon dust. Looking at the roaring Kuntu, I feel strange. In this way, I will not disgrace Kunping. Kuntu's wings were torn off, and his eyes almost protruded, which made him extremely murderous. "A pair of wings, for your life, cheap you, get out of here." With that, Longchen kicked Kuntu, and Kuntu's huge body was kicked away. Suddenly, Longchen's face changed, and he felt a strong call. This is going to be driven away. It's not good. We have to seize the time. The dragon dust grabs the half-dead dragon Outyin and flies straight to a direction, which is the door of the space where Luo Zichuan is located. P.S. 8 chapters are sent. I'm very ashamed. I wanted to save 10 or 20 chapters and send them out together. But I overestimated myself. Thank you for your support. The old devil will continue to work hard. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.